at least when a corrupt Chinese billionaire fucking kills a bunch of people because they're greedy, because they wanted to increase profits by 3% or whatever for the quarter, and they kill a bunch of people, at least they get executed. Okay, at least they get held accountable. They get stripped of all of their wealth and everything. You know, here you get, at worst, you get a slap on the wrist. Oh, you killed tens of thousands of people. It's okay. Just don't do it again. Just don't do it again, okay? By the way, you're gonna be making a campaign donation at the next primary, right? You know, that's how it works, man. That's how it works. And in China, they would fucking put them in front of the firing squad, okay? And I think that shit is sick as fuck. I think we need to do that. What the hell? Okay, hell yeah. If you, people be like, oh, like, you wanna start executing rich people just because they fuck up? Yes. Yes, I do. Yes, I do want to do that. Yes. Yeah, because when they fuck up, they kill thousands of people. Good news. Our newest guest, our favorite new guest, Tom Foe, he just dropped a new video called Live by the Sword, Die by Nuclear Annihilation. Interesting. Let's hear what he has to say.
We didn't want this war.
Uh-oh.
It was forced upon us in the most brutal and savage way. But though Israel didn't start this war, Israel will finish it.
We defeated Russia in the battle for minds of the world. We have no fear, nor should anyone in the world have it. Ukraine holds its lines and will never surrender.
My fellow citizens, at this hour, American and coalition forces are in the early stages of military operations to disarm Iraq, to free its people, and to defend the world from grave danger.
A 76-year-old veteran named Peter Kaysen, he committed suicide in the parking lot of a vet's hospital.
He's been identified as 33-year-old Enrique Ramos Jr., a former Marine.
The website Gawker has published the suicide note of an Iraq War veteran who says he took his own life because the trauma of war left him in constant mental and physical agony. Then the same government has turned around and abandoned me, he wrote. He went on to say, any blame rests with them. Daniel Summers killed himself on June 10th. He was 30 years old.
It's all suicide, 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 it's all suicide me, listen free, it's all suicide me, it's all suicide, it's all suicide, it's all suicide, it's all suicide, ride falling sky with me, falling inside. Suicide, it's all suicide, it's all suicide, suicide, it's all suicide.
Yeah, cool, man.
It's all suicide, it's all suicide, it's all suicide, suicide, it's all 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 suicide. I don't feel no one can know I'm close, I'm almost over, low, I think over, nothing can feed me. Trips full of thoughts, barely breathing, and this was a reality, for me on the distance, how the hands got the leash, ground the basics.
Based alert, that yo, death grips spotted. Based alert. Okay, for real though, I like death grips. They're all right. They're all right. I mean, I think hopefully it's not problematic or anything. I don't know. I'm a liberal. Okay, I'm a lib.
Do you ever think about what you would do if nuclear war just kind of popped off? And let's just say you're in a city, a prime target. There's no escape. You don't live in the forest somewhere. You don't live in Australia with all the billionaires that put their bunkers for nuclear war. You're just in a city. You're a normal, everyday person in a city. And you find out the nukes got set off. They're launching. They're flying. And you have 20 minutes left to live. And then you're going to die. What would you do? Would you pray? Do you even know how to pray? Have you ever prayed before, ever in your life? Like, really?
Do you
what would
know
you pray
how to
for
pray?
or about? Would you just pray that God saves you, or how does that go? Do you just pray that you don't burn in hell after you die? Or I feel like praying is the easy answer. I feel like that's what most people would do. But what if you didn't pray? What would you do? Would you?
I would
try to
jork
call
my
someone?
penis.
Try to text somebody. Is there someone important
I would
enough
jork my
in your life
penis.
that you would want to be with them and reassure them that they're
That's
not
what I
alone
would do.
in that moment?
I just
don't know.
crank my
It's crazy to
hog
think about that, 'cause
for
it used to be
20
just kind of
minutes.
like, well, you know, what if what? Like, what if a bomb drops on your head? It's like there's no point in always thinking about these things.
The bomb.
And I would agree with that, you know. But every once in a while, I think it's good to think about, because it kind of shows you what your priorities are, who actually matters, who would you actually miss, who would you want to be with in your final moment, you know, or would you want to be with anyone? It's a crazy thing to think about. I think I would want to be with my brothers. If I couldn't be with them, I would definitely want to call them. I don't even know what I'd say, you know, just to hear them. But that's just me. That's just me. And I think it's good to think about those things every once in a while. Don't dwell on it too much, because it's very, you know, it's just, you're just thinking of death and total annihilation. It's good to accept death because it's going to happen eventually, but don't make that your whole personality, because it's not healthy. But today we're going to be talking about a lot of crazy, heavy stuff. As you couldn't already tell from the intro in this video, it's going to be some serious subject matter. We're going to be talking about war. And most importantly, the two wars that are currently happening, as well as the wars that will happen pretty soon because of the way things are going and where things are leading towards. And we're also going to discuss, will those wars lead to a world war, a great war, the final war, the war that brings nuclear annihilation? Because even though, like I said, don't think about it too much, we also have to be honest in the fact that in this day and age that we currently are living in, that is more of a possibility more and more every day. So it is good to kind of discuss these things when you're talking about war in general. What would these wars, these future wars, mean for us, for our veterans, for the ones that have served, for the ones that are currently serving, and the ones that will enlist? What will they get out of this if these things happen? And I mean, if we're going to start talking about the wars that are currently going on now,
what will they get out of this?
Russia-Ukraine war and the
PTSD.
Israel-Palestine war, or a lot of people, they'll call that one a conflict instead of a war, because let's face it, it's not really a war at all. It's a genocide. It's been a genocide, and anybody who would deny that at this point is obviously just trying to sell you something. They're trying to sell you a narrative, or they don't want their side to be seen as people who are committing genocide, so they deny it. But that's what it is.
Yeah.
I can already see the people now screaming. It's like, oh, well, they're fighting against Hamas, and they struck first. And it's like, first of all, the majority of the casualties, even self-admittedly from Israel's own numbers, are civilians. And most of those civilians are children. So most of the deaths in this conflict in just the past couple years are kids. And some people would say, oh, well, they deserve it because the kids had rocks, and they threw rocks at a tank. If you think a 12-year-old throwing...
Nobody's saying that. Nobody's saying that. They're just like, well, like the actual pro-Israel argument here is human shields. Okay, human shields. And you know, that's just it's collateral damage, baby. It's collateral damage. Like nobody's saying like, oh well, the kids had rocks and that's why that's why the IDF, that's how they try to justify it. They're like, oh well, they threw rocks at us, so we just shot them, you know. That's how they justify it. But that's not really how like Israel supporters will try to spin it, you know, because it doesn't work, because it's stupid. Because the only reason that works for the IDF soldiers is because the people above them in the IDF don't give a fuck that kids are being killed, because that's the point. Because the point is to kill all of them. But yeah, anyway.
Throwing a rock at a tank means that the 12-year-old...
Sorry if I'm like nitpicking or whatever. Okay, we'll keep going.
Eviscerated with a machine gun. There's something seriously wrong with you on a spiritual level.
Yeah,
I think
I agree with that.
Evil,
yeah,
to be honest, I think there's something evil about that. And I mean, how can you blame the 12-year-olds from wanting to throw rocks?
So, yeah. So this is a great start. You know, this is a wonderful start, really. I have a feeling that he'll ruin it in some way. He'll get like really racist with it. Okay, that's what he always does, but or that's what he's done in the few videos I've watched. But yeah, so far, spot on. Israel bad. Child murder bad. Yeah, I mean, like, we're on the same page right now. I agree with this.
Tank. If you were a 12-year-old in Gaza, you would hate the IDF. You would hate Israel. Do you seriously think anybody who's going to grow up in conditions like that would not have any type of resentment or hatred for the...
Yeah, and keep in mind that most Hamas militants, most combatants in Hamas are children themselves. Okay, the average Hamas combatant like not much older than the average Palestinian, which is 15. Okay, I want to say that the average Hamas combatant is like 16, 17 max. Okay, like this is the reality. They're fighting children, they're killing children. That's what they're doing. Okay, but anyway, what he's talking about here is important, but it doesn't just extend to kids throwing rocks. Okay, like if you watch your grandma get blown up into red mist, right? That is a radicalizing moment, I think. That is a moment that will radicalize you. Okay, you'll look at that and you'll say, well, who is responsible for annihilating grandma? who did this? And then your next step is going to be to fight that person. Okay, that is what you're going to do. So, all that is to say is this Hamas situation is a problem of Israel's design. Okay, they designed this issue. They created the problem. They're fighting the problem which they created. Okay, that's it. Anyway,
people who are literally killing them,
and that's why it'll
you're
never
insane.
end.
That's completely detached from reality, and it's like you can't expect anybody who would be in a situation like that, no matter who they are, to not have human emotions and to not feel strongly. And so you hear this argument from people saying, oh, well, the kids deserve to die because they're going to grow up and they're going to become Hamas soldiers. It's like, well, no fucking shit. They're going to grow up and become Hamas soldiers. They're going to grow up and want to fight against the people who are killing their neighbors and their family. That's true with literally anybody. So if you're going to use the logic that those kids deserve to die because of that situation, then don't be surprised if one day, if you were to end up at the barrel of a gun, it's pointed at you and your family, and it's your enemies, and they beat you. They won. What are you going to do then? You're going to, well, don't kill my kids because my kids, they don't deserve it. They're just children. What are you going to say to them when they tell you, but they're going to grow up and they're going to hate us, so we have to kill them? See how that works? It's like you can't do that. War has always been barbaric to a certain degree. Violence is always dirty and nasty and bloody, and it's violence. So, of course. But as we came into more and more technology and more advancements, not just as one country, but as multiple countries, we kind of came up with like rules of engagement, rules of war. You're supposed to follow those, It's like, that's not what's being done. So I'm not here to make a case for the Geneva Convention or whatever. That's not the point of this video. I'm just telling you, it's like,
yeah, that's anti-Semitic.
That there should be no rules in war.
Yeah, don't talk about war crimes. Don't talk about that. That's anti-Semitic.
Each other as humans, to some degree, at least to the children. If you really think that there's no place for that ever, don't be surprised when you end up losing and your enemy does that to you. You have no right to cry wolf in that situation. And I don't hope that happens. I don't want
Wow,
to
Tom Foe, I didn't realize that you were such a vicious anti-Semite. What the fuck is wrong with you?
But I don't want it
What
to
is wrong with you?
Because it's horrible. The little girl, the picture you saw of the little girl, the reason why I don't have a picture of what she looks like after what the IDF soldiers did to her is because there's not much to show. They blew her car up with her entire family in it, and the little girl survives barely. And they decide, well, the best course of action is to point a machine gun at this little 6-year-old girl. She was like 5 or 6 years old, and to just completely eviscerate her. And that's her final moment. That's her goodbye to the world, is a bunch of men execute her in the most barbaric way. It's horrible. I would say, when it comes to the Israel-Palestine conflict, I'm not a crusader for Palestine. I'm an American first patriot. I care about my country and my countrymen. That's the whole purpose of my politics, to be honest, but I can have humanity, and I can see that as being wrong and evil, what's happening to those people. So even though I'm not a crusader for their plight and what's going on in Palestine, I'm not going to sit here and just not acknowledge that what's going on is completely evil. It is. And it's wrong. It would be wrong if it happened to anybody. And I know a lot of people are going to disagree with me on that. I don't care. But to the people that are supporters of Palestine, who, and I know a lot of liberals that they're really big on that, and you could say they're crusaders for it. They keep saying stuff like, oh, well, Israel's going to learn, and, Palestine, it just needs a chance to heal. I got bad news for you, and I don't want to tell you this, but this is just the reality of what is going on with Israel and Palestine, what has been going on. This isn't something that's very recent. If you do any research into this conflict, it's been going on for decades.
Yeah, I think the libs know, man. I think the liberals are aware. Okay. I think that's why they're crusaders, as you put it. Okay, they're Palestine crusaders. Yeah, it's because they know what's going on, because they see it, because we all see it. It's in everybody's feed. Okay, except for maybe the pro-Israel people. I don't know what's in their feed. Fucking hypnosis, stare at the clock, or something. I don't know. But yeah, I mean I got news for you liberals. What's happening in Palestine is is really bad, really brutal. Like, yeah, man. Yeah, we know.
Essentially since the
We know
beginning
that.
of the Israeli state. But even more so, it's been going on way before that as well.
Yeah.
Look at the books, look at the writings that all the leaders and creators of Israel, all the people they look up to.
Yeah.
Look at the people who created Zionism and all these different things.
It
Look at
goes
how they
back
view
to the
Palestine.
19th century. It goes back to the 1800s. It's not like Zionism isn't ancient. You know, it's not very, very old. But it is a bit older than Israel itself. It's you know, it predates the nation state by almost 100 years, I think. So they had been cooking this up for a while now. Okay, the Zionists, they pontificated about how they were going to do it for many decades. Okay, it's crazy.
100 years
Anyway.
before Israel was even a state. This isn't something that's new. This isn't something that's going to stop. Just because they made a peace plan, Trump comes in and makes a peace plan, and they agree to a ceasefire. They've been agreeing to ceasefires on and off for forever. It doesn't do anything. They've had the newest ceasefire has been happening. There's 370 Palestinians dead, including a bunch of kids. The ceasefires don't do fucking shit. And I hate to tell any of the Palestine freedom fighters who might be watching, or any of the liberals who might be crusaders for the Palestinian cause, but just because France comes out and recognizes Palestine as a state, just because all these countries are doing so.
Okay, yeah, you're right, but that is like that is kind of a big deal though. Like these European states have been pro-Israel for like as long as Israel's been. Fucking Germany came out and was like, we are for the Palestinians, you know, and that's crazy because it's fucking Germany. Germany, the same country that used to arrest people for being pro-Palestine, for speaking out against Israel. Like, it's a big deal, okay? You can sit there and be like, this doesn't matter, nothing ever happens, you know, all day, all fucking day, man. And, like, does it reverse any of the death, any of the destruction? Of course not. Is it going to stop any death and destruction? Maybe not directly, okay, but it certainly is a win for pro-Palestine people. It is like finally, the European Union is exerting just a modicum of pressure, just a little bit of pressure on Israel, and you want to be like all negative about it. You want to be like, oh, it doesn't matter. Like, no, man. It does matter. Okay, it fucking matters. Shut the fuck up.
It doesn't fucking mean shit. It's not going to save
It doesn't mean shit.
I've talked to some people who are really into that stuff, and that's what they said. It's like, yeah, France is recognizing them as a state, and things are going to change. No, they're not. Even if there was a peace agreement and a ceasefire that actually works,
I am a
and there hasn't
pessimist.
been, and there won't be. But let's say there was. You think that's going to last? That's not on the game plan for Israel, is to have peace with Palestine. That's never been the goal. You want me to tell you what their plan is? You want me to tell you what Israel's goals are as a nation? I'll give it to you in the most simplest way I possibly can, and it's still going to be complex.
Lay it on
because
me.
That's just the nature of these things. Israel's goal is not to make any peace with any of the people in the Middle East. Their goal is to take over the Middle East. Their goal is to become a superpower. They already have the nukes, because that's the thing, is they use us not for defense, but as a way to aggressively expand.
Leverage.
Even when Israel is at peace with different nations around it, have you ever noticed why the other nations are constantly collapsing? They don't have enough time to invest in their own infrastructure, ascend their own societies. In a way, they're always crumbling and getting fucked up, even when they're at peace with Israel, because that is by design. They're trying to conquer all of it, not just Palestine. So if you think
the Greater Israel Project is like undeniable. Anybody that says, oh no, it's gonna stop with Gaza, or it's gonna stop with the West Bank, like they're lying or they're fools. Okay, probably both. Okay, and anyway, this is just odd. Like the only people that I see that are actually denying the Greater Israel Project is Israel. Okay, they're like Israel supporters are like, oh yeah, hell yeah, they're gonna take it all. They're gonna take it all, buddy. Yeah. And, but Israel is like, oh, no, we would never do that. We would never do that. We're gonna stop with Gaza. And by the way, why do they all sound like that? Why do they sound like Frenchmen? Why does every Israeli sound like a Frenchman to me? I don't know why. That's all I can hear when I hear them speaking English. They sound like they're native French speakers. Anyway, man. So Israel, that is their plan, okay? But anyway, let me tell you what the leftist plan is. Let me tell you what our plan is, okay? Because I'll just lay it all out for you. Because we know Israel's plan. They want to expand. They want to eradicate all Palestinian life. They want to kill all of them. Okay, that we know this. Okay, the leftist plan is to change the hearts and minds of enough people. Okay, we want to organize everyone. We want to rally everyone. Okay, and we will boycott. We will sanction Israel until they are forced to capitulate. That's the leftist plan, okay? So notice what I said there at the beginning. Change the hearts and minds of people all over the globe. That's how it starts, okay? And it seems, at first it's going to seem fruitless. It's going to seem like nothing is happening, okay? Because all you're doing is changing people's minds. But then you use the bodies of those minds, right? You use the people to exert pressure on Israel, an immense amount of pressure, as much as you can. You just keep going hard and you don't stop.
He said unless it's fashion boycotting OnlyFans and Pepsi, all shut up.
Unless it's Hassan boycotting OnlyFans and Pepsi, LOL, shut up. Okay. Alright, bro.
That supernatural boy asks loser, what are you talking to?
I'm talking to you right now, man. Why are you so upset? Why are you... What's got you so angry? You can tell me. Okay, I'm obviously an accessible person. That's why you came here. You came here to antagonize me. And you can, like, shout about Hassan all fucking day. Oh, Hassan drinks Pepsi. Like, whatever. Okay, so what? Who cares? He drinks Pepsi, so he's not pro-Palestine? Is that your point? You made me lose my train of thought. That's okay, though. Let's keep going.
Gonna stop with Palestine. Think again.
Supernatural
And the only reason, like
what happened to leftist plan Umao.
Oh, yeah, that is what I was talking about, yeah.
Supernatural boy said dumbass.
Well, you started talking to me, and I obliged. All right, I was talking about the leftist plan. That's just it, man. I was pretty much done talking about it. This person that I'm watching, that I'm reacting to, is a pessimistic person through and through. At least when it comes to left-wing politics, you know, he might have a more optimistic view of right-wing politics. But I'm speculating, okay? I haven't watched enough of them to know.
They use us so much, they use America so much, is because, yeah, if, let's say, after the 60s, if Israel just wanted to be a little tiny state in the Middle East, and if they wanted to just get along with everybody and protect themselves, they could have done that without foreign aid from the United States. But that's not why they need us. They need us so they can aggressively expand. That's why.
That's supernatural.
They need us so they can use us for our resources, for our military, to threaten other people,
okay,
and as a way to take over the Middle East. And then in doing so, they're going to have a huge monopoly on trade in that region. It's essentially going to make a lot of money for them. They will be extremely wealthy, and they already have nukes. They will be a superpower, very much like China, very much like the United States, just like Russia.
Keep up with what you just said, LMAO idiot.
I mean, I'm a person that is capable of being distracted, of going off course. It happens. It happens. I pretty much completed that thought, though. I was just talking about, like, what action against Israel realistically looks like. Like, I don't know what this person wants our country to do about Israel. Maybe it involves military intervention, maybe something there or the other, but I think that that's a terrible idea. And realistically, that's not what our country is going to do. So, you know, I think that we need to decouple from Israel, and we need to sanction them. Maybe he would actually agree with me on that, in which case I would say, you know, that is what leftists want. That is what we're doing, so we're in agreement. Okay, perfect. But if you disagree with me about something that I just said, Supernatural Joey, then I implore you to share it with me. You know, talk to me about it, but don't speak in these platitudes. Don't. I'm just another person, man. I'm just another streamer. You can, you may be unhappy with your life right now. You may be struggling, right? You may be living in poverty, and maybe that's why you're angry and you're lashing out at me for no reason. I am here to tell you that this is a safe space, okay? People do come into my chat. You can say that it's, it's empty, it's dead, okay? It's like, fucking 8 a.m. right now, okay? It's like, it's early. Okay, but people do come into my chat, and they tell me things about themselves, about their lives. Okay, you can do that too. If something is bothering you, I'm not saying I have the answer or the solution to all of your problems, but you don't have to have such a negative outlook. Just because I disagree with you about politics, about maybe your favorite streamer or your favorite content creator, doesn't mean you have to hate me. Okay, but my point is that the kind of obsession that you have for me is unhealthy. Okay, I've seen you come in here before. I've seen you talk to me. I've seen the way you talk to me. I've read your comments. I remember them. Okay. You need help. You need help. If you are a real person and you're not a bot, you need help. I am just a random guy on the internet making stupid videos on the internet. You don't need to come in here and attack me, okay? That's it. That's it. Now you're shutting up for some reason.
Any American that is in support of supporting Israel, just know that their game plan for us, once they establish their world dominance, if you think Jews and Israel controls our society now, just wait. If they get what they want, if they get what they're planning on, you have no fucking idea what Israel running our society will look like. You think it looks like what it is now? No, it doesn't. Not even close. That's their goal. Become a world superpower, dominate the trade, and then if you think...
I think we're already there, man. I think we already... Like, I know what you're saying, like, oh, it can get so much worse, it can get so much worse. Not really. Not really. Like, it's about as bad as it can get as far as the development of, the dystopia goes, okay? Like, we're doing Palantir, right? We're doing a surveillance state at the behest of Israel. That's what we're doing, okay? It's already happening. And, I mean, it's already happening in the sense that they're telling us about it. So it's actually probably already in place and being done and has been for years. Okay, now, this is nothing new in America. We've had a surveillance state for a long time. Okay, in 2013, Edward Snowden blew the lid on the NSA and had to flee to Russia, and now he is like a traitor on the run, and he's been living in Moscow ever since. But because of that, we know that the NSA is spying on us, has been spying on us, on American citizens for decades. For decades they've been doing this. Okay. And it's nothing new, man. Okay, like, you want to sit here and be like, oh, the secret police are coming after us. Like, where have you been? Where have you been, man? Like, this is it. And anyway, you're with the groypers, right? Which means that you probably supported Trump in the lead up to the last election. Which means that you love all of this. You love... Like, come on, man. Like, this is... Like, Trump was your guy. He was your guy. Like, yeah, you cut ties now, but, like... Mr. Israel himself, Mr. 50 quadrillion to Israel himself. Mr. Palantir is vice president. You guys love him. Don't love his wife so much, but don't worry. They'll leave her for a white girl.
Now, that's when the real control begins for America. That's when the real, we're going to be their slaves starts. And people will say, well, it's already so much now. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
When you get on, you leave your ass for a white girl.
And that's the goal. A lot of people would say, well, where does Palestine fit into all of that? That's the point. It doesn't. That has never been the plan. And I hate to say this to anybody, who might not know this, but Palestine is not going to be a thing 100 years from now. They will never have peace in the sense to where they will be able to rebuild. And I hate to say this, but they will never be avenged. It's just not happening. And no amount of any of these countries recognizing Palestine as a state is going to change that. That hasn't done shit. And it will not ever do shit. And if you think if all the countries came together and pressured Israel into actually letting off the gas on Palestine, if you think that would stop them totally, no. They might stop for a year, maybe even a decade. And they'll apologize. If it came push comes to shove, yeah, Israel will apologize. Benjamin Netanyahu will call Qatar and say, we're sorry for doing this, we're sorry for doing that. They'll say whatever they need to. They have no shame. A lot of people make jokes about Trump, and when I say a lot of people, I mean myself included, especially, jokes about Trump just sucking off Israel. He's sucking off Israel. He's sucking off Benjamin Netanyahu.
That's true.
He's doing tricks
That's
on
true.
it.
He's doing it.
A lot of people make jokes about that. I make jokes about that. But in reality, it's vice versa. Benjamin Netanyahu sucks off Trump just as much because he knows exactly what Trump wants to hear when they do these meetings.
Oh, okay.
Trump gets mad. He gets angry at him. He pulls him in. He says, you're going to do this. You're going to say this.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. He's reeling him in. He's reeling him in. I mean, Israel, of course, depends immensely on America for everything. And the president has the power to take a lot of that away. So, yeah, you're right. But I don't know, man. I don't know, because of the Epstein shit. Trump, what he's talking about is true in public. Okay, Trump does try to exert dominance, I think, because he doesn't want another, pulling out the chair situation. But, it's just, I'm not buying it, though. I'm not buying it, bro. He's pulling out that chair for Bibi Netanyahu all day, every day, bro. Can I get you anything else, sir? Like, come on, dude. They got Mossad. They got Epstein. Do you really think Trump is like leading them in, right? Or he's wrangling them? I don't think so. I think Trump is giving them everything that they want. He always has. He openly brags about it, actually. Give them this weapon, gave them that weapon. Like, this is just cope, okay? My point is that he's just coping right now. This is fucking cope.
He's all about talking. It's more of the negotiation aspect. That's the whole point about it.
He's negotiating.
And Benjamin Netanyahu
he's negotiating.
He'll tell Trump whatever he wants to hear. He'll say whatever he wants.
Oh, yeah. Benjamin Netanyahu. Netanyahu knows that Trump is making the boss calls, okay? That's why he straightens out his act around Trump. Like, come on, bro.
Peace agreement or ceasefire that will come out of this will not last because they will do whatever they need to.
Pure delusion.
It's not just Palestine, it's the whole area because they want to rule the world. They do. Every country does. China wants to. America, to a certain degree, wants to. At least a lot of the people who are in power, maybe you don't, but a lot of the people who make decisions for you do. And that's kind of how that works. So I know a lot of people don't want to hear that about Palestine, and it's horrible what's happening to them, but that's just what it is. It's just the reality of it.
Countries just want control over they just want global dominance. Well, yeah, no shit. Okay, cool. You know what the difference is between China and America? China is focused on maintaining social cohesion and uplifting the poorest people in their country, uplifting them. Okay? America says, fuck all of that shit. Let's do privatized healthcare, and also let's force every country that we can possibly manage to also do privatized healthcare. Awesome, bro. So cool.
Israel will eventually get what they want. As long as Israel is a state, they will get what they want, and they don't have enough enemies to attack them. They have too many people in their pocket. They have too many allies, even in places you wouldn't suspect. They do trade with China even. Like, they are setting themselves up to not be taken out of the equation. And Palestine has basically no allies, and the only people that can stand against them is Iran or whatever the fuck you want to call it. And
yeah, there is no more Palestine, okay? I mean, there is a Palestine. There is a Palestinian culture, and it's beautiful, and I pray for them, okay? But, like, anyway, they're occupied, okay? There's an occupation happening. There is no Palestinian state. There is no government. There is no... Not really, okay? Especially not now, okay? But even a few years ago, not really, okay? And Palestine hasn't had a set on the main stage for many, many decades, okay? For over 80 years, since the inception of Israel, okay? Pretty much. Anyway, let's keep going.
Be able to do shit. They don't have the pieces in place to do so, and that's why nothing has happened. And you're going to start seeing less and less about Palestine because Oracle bought TikTok, and now they're going to start banning. Because a lot of people found out about Palestine and all these things through TikTok because none of this stuff was getting banned. Now it is. So slowly and surely, the majority of people, maybe not you, but the majority of people are going to start forgetting. They're going to start to forget about Palestine. And even when they remember, it will only be every other year. And that's not good enough. It wasn't even good enough when everybody thought about them every single moment of every day. Still didn't do anything for them. They're going to lose. They've already lost. And that's the Israel-Palestine conflict war, and the way that's kind of gone is it's horrible. But what's the second thing that's going on in the world right now? What's the second big war that's been raging on for the past couple years? And that's the Russia-Ukraine war. And what's going on there? Well, when it started, everybody was thinking, well, Russia's going to get their ass handed to them. Ukraine has us in their back pocket. They're bankrolling them. We're going to get, you don't understand. Ukrainians have the fighting spirit.
Oh, God.
They have the fighting spirit. They're going to win. Fast forward
to... Oh, God. Who was saying that? He's right. I mean, I think that was kind of the mainstream opinion, yeah. Very silly in retrospect.
What happens? They lost. They are basically begging. The United States and Ukraine is essentially always begging Russia to accept some type of peace proposal because they lost.
It didn't have to be like this. It didn't have to be like this. Don't forget, under the Biden admin, we were in a very advantageous position. And Biden could have made a peace deal, but they just refused to even talk to Russia. It was crazy. He was like, total withdrawal, Jack. Yeah, never gonna fucking happen.
Completely fucked them up. What did we get just a couple years later? Well, we get almost, 500,000 Ukrainian soldiers have been killed or wounded, and about 30,000 casualties a month or some shit like that. And also, that's not accounting the people who left. Do you know how many deserters Ukraine has? Because it turns out a lot of the people in positions of power in Ukraine are quite corrupt. They pocket a lot of the money that's supposed to be for food and ammunition. It gets pocketed by all their politicians because they're all fucking corrupt politicians. And that's why so many soldiers on Ukraine's side have deserted, because they don't believe in their leadership. They don't think these people actually give a fuck about them, and it turns out they don't. Why do you think Trump stopped supporting them as much? Because we realized, hey, they're pocketing a lot of the money. A lot of this stuff is not actually going towards the war efforts, and we've done a lot for them. Besides bankrolling it, there's a lot of reports of people saying we've sent our own soldiers over there, but that's very hush-hush, because obviously we can't get into direct combat with Russia, because that would definitely start World War III. So it has to be by proxy, and that's essentially what this is. It's NATO and America using Ukraine as a proxy to attack Russia, to fight Russia, because we want Ukraine to become a part of NATO so we can put our missiles and our soldiers on their doorstep. And that's why Russia was so, worried about all this before the war even began. And we kept telling them, well, no, we're not going to push for NATO to be at your border. We're not going to do this. We're not going to do that. And what fucking happened? We did. And even in 2022, not even a year after the war began, Russia offered a peace deal to Ukraine. And the biggest term for the peace agreement was that Ukraine could not join NATO and it would have to remain permanently neutral. There was also some other demands. They said you had to give up some lands. They said, all right, well, the Ukrainian people have to learn Russian and they have to do all these cultures. So a lot of people would say, well, that peace agreement was too hardcore. There were no real trade-offs. It was basically Russia just getting whatever they wanted. And so Ukraine, because of the United States and the United Kingdom...
Yeah, I mean, I would have never expected Ukraine to agree to that deal. That deal was fucking garbage, like, obviously. But the problem is we did not intermediate. We did not... Our country... Representatives from our country did not try to make this deal happen. Okay, they didn't try to get a better deal for Ukraine. They didn't try to convince Ukraine to like stop the war. for two reasons, in my opinion. Because number one, America, our government sees this war as a good thing, okay, or I should say they see it as a bad thing for Russia, okay, because they think that it's gonna like cripple the Russian military or whatever, okay, they think that that's great, that's awesome. And number two, it is a war, and America just loves war, okay? We love making money off of war, okay? That's it. That's it. So that, like, that's why. Okay, that's why we didn't stop it when we could have. Now we're in a position where Trump wants to start this war with Iran, he wants to start this war with Venezuela, and the war in Ukraine is kind of, like, it's too much. It's too much to juggle. Okay, so that's why he's trying to end that war, so that he can get into the good stuff. Okay, he's like, fuck Ukraine, like, but Vladimir Lenin, he sees it in from the opposite perspective. Okay, he wants America to get into a bunch of wars, so that we have too much to juggle, because he thinks that will spell the downfall of the great American empire. Okay, he thinks that if America has the war in Ukraine, and then we shift our focus to Iran, and then we shift our focus to Venezuela, and we're constantly going back and forth, then that's going to create an opening for Russia to take out America. Okay, plow, take them out. Okay, which is stupid, okay, because Vladimir Lenin is a fucking dumbass, okay, he's a dumb fuck. I've always stood by this. He's not, like, as overtly stupid as American politicians, right? He's not quite that dumb, and he is also a lot more menacing. Okay, I'll admit that, because he's an ex-KGB operative. You know, he like rides horses shirtless to assert dominance or whatever. He's like he's alpha, is what I'm saying. He's like he is like an alpha male, but he's just dumb. Okay, he's just dumb and stupid. The alpha male thing is just like a disguise. It's like smoke and mirrors. Anyway, let's keep going.
The entire time we told them, don't worry, you can fight them. You don't have to accept these terms.
Yeah,
you can beat them.
That's true.
You can win. We'll help you. And fast forward, what happens? They lost. They don't have enough soldiers. They don't have enough men. Even if we gave them twice the amount of money that we have given them, it would not even go to the war effort, because their politicians are so fucked up, they pocket most of the money. Maybe not most, but more than enough. It shouldn't even be one fucking penny. But it's been a whole lot more than that. So even to the people that would say, well, it's not a lot that they've taken. It's a couple million, all right? That's not why we fucking sent them that money. That's not why that shit came out of your fucking paycheck. Was so some politician could afford to have an orgy with a bunch of prostitutes on our taxpayer dime. That's not why we fucking sent them the money to begin with, okay? And then our own politicians here pocketing money. That's a whole other thing as well. We have corruption on our side. All these deals being made. It's crazy. But Ukraine has suffered a lot. They've lost the faith of their own people. And some would disagree, but they have.
Yeah, our corruption isn't like that, though. Our corruption, and the way that politicians predominantly make money through nefarious methods, is insider trading. Okay, that's how they make their money. That's how they do it. Now, I should have said this when he talked about it earlier, because I just didn't really say anything about it, but I don't know if Ukrainian politicians manage to pocket money from our government. It could be true. I don't know. I cannot speak on the validity of that. But what I do know is that our politicians are very corrupt, and they do insider trading. And yeah, that's pretty much it.
And that's why they have so many deserters, and that's why so many people just kind of gave up. And the reason why Russia won't accept any peace deals now, any peace terms now, is because, well, now they're going to take all of it. They're going to take everything they want, and they're going to get it. And Russia, don't get me wrong, Russia has suffered a lot. A lot of their own people have died as well.
Yeah, I don't really see that as realistic either.
What a sad and horrible Christmas Eve.
Maybe. Could Russia take all of Ukraine? Possibly, but they're gonna have some problems with that, okay? And I don't think that they really want that anyway. Like, everybody is talking about, like, they're basically saying what this guy is saying, like, oh man, like, Russia, it's so Jover, like, they're gonna take all of Ukraine, it's so Jover, the West has fallen, billions must die, okay? Yeah, no, because Ukrainians, Ukraine is a national identity. Okay, so if Russia takes Ukraine, they're gonna have domestic issues. They're gonna have civil unrest. Okay, under their new constituency, right? Like if they take all of Ukraine and they say Ukraine is ours now, where it's under the Russian Federation, okay, then all the Ukrainians living in Ukraine right now, and the ones that move back, okay, after the war is over, they're gonna be like, what the fuck? Like, no, like, I don't think so. And they're going to, resist. And they may do this, knowing Ukraine, they're probably gonna get pretty violent with it, okay? So, Russia's they're not gonna like this, okay? And the thing is, they know that this is gonna happen. So they don't really want Ukraine that badly, because of that, I think. Now, the other side of this is, okay, well, like, what would be the pros of like, what I was just talking about is the cons from the Russian perspective of annexing Ukraine. But what about the pros? Like, what do they get out of it? Well, you know, Ukraine is home to an abundance of a particular set of natural resources. Those natural resources are they're something that my country wants, that the United States wants. But Russia already has a lot of these precious metals and minerals, okay? So I don't think they really need it as much. That's just based off of what I've read about it, okay? Maybe there is some shit in Ukraine that they want. I think that the main thing is, the main, like, benefit to taking Ukraine is that now America doesn't have access to these resources. Now we don't have any allies with said resources, so we have to buy them from Russia or I think China. Okay, we have to get them from them, and so, you know, that would be the main benefit, and that is a pretty big benefit for Russia. Okay, that, you know, that seems like something that they would want to do. But again, I don't know if it would seem worth it from their perspective. Either way, it is certainly more. It is certainly more in line with Vladimir's plan to take down America, for him to drag out this war for as long as possible. So even if in the end, if Putin does want all of Ukraine or whatever, he's gonna take his sweet time with it, okay? He's not gonna take Ukraine overnight. That's just never gonna. I mean, he could have already done that if he wanted to. Let's be for real. Like, the thing is, I'm not denying the Russian supremacy in this conflict, right? Like, Russia is definitely winning. They are definitely capable of winning this a lot faster than they are. But they're choosing not to, and some people say that's to reduce casualties on their side. Some say it's, you know, some people like me say it's because there's like a long game here. There's a bigger plan. But anyway, either way, that's what they're doing. Okay, that's what they're doing. That's what's happening. If you think that this war is going to end quickly, or it's going to end necessarily with Russia taking all of Ukraine, I think you are somewhat schizophrenic, okay? And also, you're not really thinking about what's actually important about this conflict.
And the thing with Russia is they have suffered so much, and they are willing
to suffer more. That's
your
main takeaway.
They're capable of suffering more. You think Russia hasn't had a lot of fucked up shit? We had the sanctions. They survived the sanctions. A lot of their own people have died. Even back home in Russia, they have an epidemic right now, a drug epidemic with teens.
Yeah.
There's like a big epidemic with this new drug called mephedrone or some shit. It's like crack or something like that. It's extremely addictive, and it's very popular among teens over there. Their society has a lot of fucked up problems. A lot of the people over there feel bad about the war, and a lot of the younger people, they feel ashamed, and they're turning to drugs. And they call that drug, it's got a lot of slang names. They call it drone, they call it MCAT, they call it white magic, they call it meow meow, they call it fucking bubble. And it's addictive, and it fucks you up.
Yeah, I mean, you know, that's cool and all, man. people in Russia have had the people of Russia have a long history of substance abuse, and this is no secret. Okay, it's literally part of their national identity. Okay, vodka drinking. Now, the reasons for young people abusing substances in Russia, Russian young people abusing substances, the reason that they're doing that today is intralinked. Okay, it's connected to the reasons that Russians of the past abused substances. Okay, so let's talk about that. What happened? Well, it all started in the 19th century. Okay, and at the time, Russia was under czarist rule. Okay, basically there was a king, a czar, and this czar, this royal family, they were the government. They collected taxes. They organized, infrastructure maintenance, the building of infrastructure. And anyway, I believe it was under the one that came before Nicholas II, his father. What was his name? I can't remember. Anyway, it was during his rule that the peasants of Russia, the peasants and the serfs, they started making their own alcohol from grain, I believe. They were already growing grain, and they made vodka from it, and they were drinking it. Okay, and they were just like having a good time. They were having a happy time, and the government saw this, and they were like, "Wait a second, we could be making money off of this." Okay, so the Tsar declared that it was illegal to produce vodka, and that only the state could produce it. Only the state. Okay, now Nicholas II expanded on this, and he actually while he was manufacturing the vodka, he decided it would be a good idea to make it so that you can't close the bottles after you open them. Okay, and this was in an effort to increase alcoholism, because what was happening in Russia at the time is the landlords and the owners of property were raking in all this money and investing in all this capital, and none of it was going back to the Russian people. And so they were frustrated. They were drinking alcohol to cope. And then a man came along, and his name was Vladimir Lenin. And Lenin, he read some books about capital and about private property, and he had some funny little ideas, okay, about wealth redistribution. And he was very unpopular with the Tsar. Consequently, he was banished to Siberia, which is a hellhole, basically. It's brutally cold in the winter, but hot and humid in the summer, and there's just swarms of mosquitoes, allegedly. Okay, I've never actually been there, but from what I read about it, at least back then in Siberia, there were like literally swarms of mosquitoes that would just engulf your entire body. It's crazy, and people died from it. People were killed by mosquito swarms. Okay, it's wild. It's wild. Anyway, I got sidetracked. Okay, Russia, alcoholism, yeah. So Lenin, he actually advocated for people to abstain from drinking, and for doing any substances, for that matter, entirely, any mind-altering substances. He advocated against it. Okay, and And of course, the Bolsheviks won. And there was a sharp increase in the material conditions of peasants and of serfs. And they went on to become workers, factory workers, and laborers. And they had jobs. And they were treated relatively well relative to the way they were treated before. Okay, I'm not saying that working in a factory under the newly minted USSR was all sunshine and rainbows, but yeah, it was better than what they were used to, and so Russian people were very happy, and you saw a decrease in alcoholism in Russia. There were also lots of other good things that happened as a result of the Bolsheviks winning. Lots of wonderful artwork came out of that time in Russia, but unfortunately it was short-lived because, as we all know, Lenin had 2 strokes and then keeled over, and Stalin seized power. And Stalin, after many years of fucking up and being stupid and driving the country into the ground, Stalin had become a very paranoid person. He was a victim of many assassination attempts. He was paranoid. He was scared. And you know, the U.S. government wasn't helping with any of that, obviously. So anyway, he was dealing with a lot of civil unrest, similar to the Tsar, and he decided to employ alcoholism once again. So so you know, under Stalin's rule, it came full circle, and he started doing the bottling thing with the caps. You can't put the cap back on the bottle. Okay, so Stalin started doing that again, and just yeah, it was pretty much effective enough. I think it kept people docile. It's really fucked up. Okay, I'm not saying it's like a good thing. But yeah, I mean, Stalin, he was inspired by the Tsar, and it's ironic. It's ironic because their whole thing was overthrowing the Tsar and whatnot. But anyway, you know, the thing about Stalin is, you know, it's easy to point at him and say, like, look at this evil person. But like he was kind of schizo, and it wasn't really his fault. Okay, like, I'm not saying that excuses the purges. I'm just saying that the purges happened because he was schizophrenic. And again, I would not devoid him of responsibility. Okay, he's a mass murderer. But these things happen for a reason, and we should talk about it, and we should know what those reasons were, lest we repeat history. Okay. And anyway, Stalin was just a very paranoid person because people were always trying to kill him. And also the US government was probably trying to kill him. And people in his own country were trying to kill him. And he was just like constantly being shot at, and anyway, that's why he did the purges. Okay? And that's why the Russian people were, you know, that's why they turned to alcoholism. And so all that is to say, I went on this long spiel just to explain that Russian people have this long line of intergenerational substance abuse. Like, this has been happening to them for generations, for every generation. Every generation in Russia has had to deal with this. Okay? And now the newest generation is having to deal with it. And it's for the same fucking reasons. Okay? It's the same reasons. Why did people do this under the Tsar? Okay? Because life sucked. Because life sucked and shit was hard. Okay? Why did people not do this under Lenin? Right? Under Lenin's Russia for the first few years. Why was there such a decline? Because people got new jobs. They got new, shiny, nice jobs, and they got everything that they needed. Under the Bolsheviks, people got free housing, right? People got an abundance of free food. Okay, as difficult as food is to grow in Russia, in the early days of the USSR, everybody got food. Okay, what anti-communist or whatever, what the fucking conservatives will like laugh at me for saying something like that is that there were famines in Russia. Okay, but those didn't come until decades later. Okay, so in the early days of the USSR, life was happy and people weren't addicted to substances. That's crazy how that works. And now, fast forward to now, you have people who are living in abject poverty. You have young people who have no hope for the future, who have no prospects. And they're turning to drugs, huh? Wow. Wow, that's so crazy. That's so crazy, man.
And that's a big problem they have. They have a lot of issues. So Russia isn't going to just accept any type of peace terms. They're going to take everything, as much as they can get. And at this point, they stand to get everything that they want. And why do these two wars matter right now?
Yeah, they already got it, bro. Or they're getting it.
They will play a part in the coming conflicts, which is the next thing we're going to start talking about, which is the future wars. China and Taiwan, and America and Venezuela, which America and Venezuela isn't technically just a war against Venezuela, and we're going to go into that, but I'm going to save that. We're going to talk about China and Taiwan first. And a lot of people don't really know that much about Taiwan or China, the conflict, the history behind it. Why is China so fixated on taking it? Most people don't know. And a lot of people assume that China could just take it automatically. They're like, China's so big, their military is so huge, Taiwan's so tiny, they're right next to each other. Why doesn't China just go in there and take all of it? And we'll get into that. But first, I mean, why does China want to take Taiwan? Well, there's a lot of reasons. You have the legacy of the civil war that was in China, where essentially the Republic of China lost to the communists, and the ROC, the Republic of China, retreated to Taiwan. And ever since then, the communists in China have viewed Taiwan as like this government in exile. And there's never been a peace treaty that was officially signed. And because of that, because they won, but they didn't completely eviscerate their enemy, there's been this, it's called the Century of Humiliation for the CCP. And they believe absorbing Taiwan would mark the definitive end to the Century of Humiliation. So it's the idea that it will solidify China as a great power, the status of it as a great power. And Xi Jinping also believes it will play a big role in unifying the country and making it stronger, national pride and such, all that stuff. But another main reason is the geopolitical positioning. Taiwan is, it sits within the first island chain, which is a string of U.S.-friendly territories, which includes Japan, the Ryukyu Islands, Philippines, Borneo, Indonesia, which you could look at any expert that knows a lot of information about this area, and they'll tell you that the first island chain plays a big role in helping contain China's naval power, because that's kind of China's thing, is they're all about their navy. They have the largest navy in the world currently, bigger than America's. They surpassed us. They're creating large fleets, big naval power, because that's just the type of military superiority that they're very bullish on, is the naval side. And controlling Taiwan would allow the Chinese military a more freer access to the Pacific Ocean, enabling them to have more projected power and more efficiency, and potentially deter the U.S. from interfering in the region completely. If they have control over that area, they can dominate it. And that's ultimately what China wants to do. It's all stepping stones towards military domination. China wants to dominate the Indo-Pacific region, East Asia, China themselves, Japan, North Korea,
why do they
South
want to
Korea,
do that?
Mongolia. Then you have Southeast Asia, you have Cambodia, Indonesia, Malaysia, Philippines, Singapore, Thailand, Vietnam, and then you have the South and Southwest Asia, which is like Bangladesh, India, Nepal, Pakistan, Sri Lanka. So you have a lot of different areas, but you also have the Oceania-Pacific regions, which is Australia, New Zealand, Papua New Guinea, Fuji, and many other places. But them having dominance over the Indo-Pacific region, over those islands, that's going to give them a lot of fucking power. You think Australia is going to be able to contend with China's naval force? If you look up Australia's navy, you'll get stuff that talk about how Australia has one of the largest naval forces in that region. And it's like, dude, they have like maybe 50 ships and they have like maybe 16,000 people, like on the higher end. They don't have a lot of people, like at all. The Royal Australian Navy, it's around 16,000 people. China's navy has over 400 ships. And by 2030, they're gonna have...
but we gave them those submarines though. Hey, they're doing all right. Okay, they got... Hey, look, I mean... Australia doesn't have a crazy military, okay? They don't have like a US style military, not in terms of scale anyway, maybe structure, maybe. But they do have America as an ally, and they do get shit from us, okay? They get big-ass, deadly fucking submarines that they're currently using to spy on China. I don't know, man. I don't think that anybody is positing that Australia is this great threat to China, or ever will be. It's just like a useful satellite for the United States, much like most of our allies, including a particular one in the Middle East.
435.
Not limited
and they
to.
have around almost 400,000 people just for their Navy. And they've been going hard on their Navy. Just in the past couple years, they've added over 100 vessels to their naval force. I'm talking nuclear submarines. I'm talking carriers. I'm talking jet fighters, specifically just for fighting on open water. Like, they are gearing up to completely dominate that region. And a lot of people would say, well, are they doing this because they want to attack America? Well, not necessarily, at least not anytime soon, but it does give them a military advantage.
Attack
Annexing
America.
Taiwan would give them strategic depth, and it would allow the Chinese ballistic missile submarines to become less detectable and have more access to deep waters in the Pacific Ocean. So it's like, yeah, there's a big military advantage to this. And that's the main reason. But also you have the economic reason, which is the semiconductors. Taiwan is a global economic powerhouse.
Okay, there we go. Now this is what I'm interested in. This is what I'm interested in, because when we're talking about those sweet RAM prices, okay, this is integral to that conversation. Fuck. And look, I love computers, okay? I want us to keep having computers. And we can do that. Okay? We can do that. And we don't even really need Taiwan to do that. We just need to start now. Okay? We could decouple from Taiwan in probably as little as 20 years if we start today. Okay? And, you know, I don't think that Apple's going to do that. So, I mean, I don't think they're going to do it on their own. So, we need to make them.
When it comes to semiconductors, that's everything from the chips in your
Or
phone
someone.
to your car. Like, almost everybody all
Yeah,
over the world
this is
uses
true.
those semiconductors, those computer chips. And if they own Taiwan, and if they own that, that's going to give them a monopoly on pretty much all the materials. And then it also gives them trade
Monopoly.
routes. There's a lot of trade routes that if they control Taiwan, it would give them heavy influence over. But why is China doing this? You think they're doing this because they are, just trying to make a lot of money and be nice guys and they're just chill guys, bro. You see Hassan Piker fucking going over to China and talking about how he's super Chinese now and he loves China. He's like, oh, they just do things so much better. But they'll like profile you on the side of the street and they'll stop you and they'll make you pull up your phone and delete images off your phone, or they'll throw you in prison. But it's so much better than America.
Bro, they literally did that to someone in America. They denied him entry because he had a JD Vance meme on his phone. Because of that. Oh, they'll stop you on the side of the street. Like, yeah, they will. China's not a free country. They don't have freedom of speech. Okay, I'm not saying, like, that's a good thing. That's my least favorite thing about their country. Okay, but, like, China is doing all of this other good shit. And you can't look at the good shit that they're doing and write it off because, like, oh, they're doing bad stuff, too. Well, like, yeah, so are we. We're doing a lot of bad shit. Okay? China is epic. China is awesome. Okay? I love China. I love China. It's not like they don't do terrible things. Of course they do. Our country does shit like that, too. Okay? We do atrocious acts of violence. Look at Israel. Okay? You want to sit there and if you want to act like our country was not integral in not only the formation of Israel, but its continuity into this genocide, you're delusional. Okay? Israel is America. America is Israel. We are both the same. We're the same country, basically. Israel is just our little satellite. Okay, they're like our little American experiment in the Middle East. And look at what it's done. You want to, I mean, you want to talk about like a bad assimilation. You want to talk about like bad mixing. Yeah, when you put America, an American-style government in the Middle East, it turns out that they do a fucking genocide. Wow. Wow, that's so crazy. I never would have... oh, man. Oh, but America is the good guys. Oh.
It's like, okay, you idiot. But the reason why they're doing this is because they are setting the pieces for them. They're setting up the strategies necessary for a world war conflict. They are. And the way they have decided to go about that is through naval dominance. Why do you think they constantly build?
Let me tell you something, man. You are so stupid. You are so fucking stupid. China does not want a world conflict. Okay, they certainly don't want any smoke with America. At all. At all. Why? Because they would get fucking creamed, okay? They would get annihilated into the dust. It's crazy. I mean, not really. In reality, what would actually happen is we would all nuke each other to death. Okay? And that's why it'll never happen, because of mutually assured destruction. But, like, make no mistake, if nukes weren't in the equation, and we, like, got into an armed conflict with China, we would decimate them. We would decimate them, and China knows this. China knows this. They're not trying to, like, start a non-nuclear, like, war, like a battle with boots on the ground. Like, no. No, they're not. Maybe that's not what he meant. I don't know. I don't know, but if that is what you meant, you're crazy.
In all these different countries. Do you think they're investing so much in all these different countries because they're, like I said, they're just trying to be nice guys and they're just...
Yes. Yes, it's called soft power. It's called soft power, and America does this too. Okay, when he says that, like, oh, you think that, you think China is just being all nice, you think they're just being nice guys for nothing, like, no. No, we don't think that. Not for nothing. No, of course not. Of course not. The reason that you do nice things, right, I'm saying when you're a country, okay, so, like, when I do a nice thing for someone, I might do it just to feel good, you know, I might do it just to do something nice for someone, right? That's like why people do these things, okay? But countries don't do this. countries make deals, okay? Countries do things for another country with the expectation that they'll get something out of it in the future, okay? So, and this isn't always, like, literally a transactional deal, okay? And what I mean by that is, for example, America, we send contraceptives to Africa, to various African countries. And the reason that we do this is to limit the spread of sexually transmitted diseases. Because it's in our interest to limit the spread of those diseases, okay? Because as you may know, people be fucking, and so, like, you know, it'll, if it starts in Africa, it'll make its way here, okay? It will eventually, okay? So, like, we have this interest in limiting the spread of sexually transmitted diseases, of limiting the spread of traditional diseases, COVID relief efforts would be a good example of this. But I believe we also send, like, other medical aid to Africa and other countries as well, Yemen, right? So, like, we do these things, and it's not just out of the kindness of our heart, okay? It's to like, limit the spread of disease. But China, what they do things a little different. They actually build infrastructure for other countries. And they will do this with, they'll make deals, okay, but they'll make good deals, okay? So they'll say, we'll build you a bullet train, okay, if you pay us back in the future with a little bit of interest, okay? And so that's what they've done for various African countries. And they've built this railway system all over Africa, And it's awesome. Okay, everybody loves it. Everybody loves it, and the countries are going to pay them back, right? They've already started doing it, and basically China has extended lines of credit to all these different countries to build their infrastructure, and that's really cool. That's a really good thing. Okay, I think it's awesome that China's doing that, and they may be doing it for selfish reasons or whatever. But like, why wouldn't they? Why wouldn't they get something out of it? Like, what? And anyway, like I said, America does this too, so it's just kind of a stupid point. It's just kind of dumb.
They're the good people. No. The reason why they have so much global reach at this point, building railways, Kenya's standard railway, the highways, they're building ports all across the world, communication networks.
Yeah, I didn't even mention that.
Why?
Yeah.
Because they are setting up logistic capabilities for World War III. Because a lot of people have this idea that World War III will be a nuclear war, and we'll get into that towards the end because that is, part of the.
So he's gonna make an argument here that it's like Hitler with the Autobahn, right? Because like, why did Hitler make the Autobahn? Well, it was to move his soldiers around. It was to help with the war. Okay, so on the surface, it seemed like he was doing a nice thing for his constituency, but in reality, he was planning a war. Okay, and so what he's going to say is that China is doing the same thing here, and I don't buy it. Okay, the telecommunications, the ports, maybe. I still don't really think that that's as useful as you would think it is for multiple reasons. Okay, not limited to, but including the fact that they're putting these things in other countries other than their own. So how is that gonna help their war effort? Okay, now the telecommunications thing, maybe. Okay, because if there is a world war, a new world war, realistically, it would be, digital. It would be over communications. And, I don't know if that's what's going to happen. I don't know. It's hard to say. You can certainly do a lot of damage over the internet, so maybe. But anyway. What were we talking about? I forgot
the topic, but without going too much into that, everybody's prepared for that outcome because everybody who would be a major player in World War III has nukes, at least most of them. But most of the countries don't want that to happen because they know it's kind of like a big fuck you. It's a big fuck you card. Everybody has the fuck you card, the Trump card. Nobody really is going to have an opportunity to nuke their enemies without there being a response. So China doesn't want to use their nukes, at least without getting nuked back. So the way all these countries are kind of setting up the pieces for the next big great war is for nukes not to happen, for at least there not to be an all-out nuclear war. That's why they're building ports. That's why they're building their navy, because they need the logistics. If China just straight up was like, hey, we're going to take our navy and invade America, that's literally impossible for them to do. That's like almost 4,000 miles of just ocean they have to cross. Like the logistics are not there. They can't do it. And then America is like one of the most impenetrable countries in the world, just on a geographical standpoint. It's like an impenetrable fortress. And that's why the main tactic to destroy America is not going to be a violent force of boots on the ground. It's going to be from within. And that's what it currently is. It's people from within that are going to destroy this nation, not people outside of it. It's going to be our own people. And we'll go into more of that later. But China has been building infrastructure all over the world. And a part of that infrastructure has been in Venezuela for years. They've been financing projects from railways, housing, telecommunications, to energy and satellite facilities, and it's been largely through oil-backed loans. China has provided billions in loans to Venezuela, and Venezuela has repaid through oil shipments, and this is a way for them to support Venezuela's government by bypassing Western financial...
So I've got a few things swimming around in my mind right now. Number one, the idea of the enemy within is, of course, a problematic one. Okay, but it's not. That's not to say that it's completely delusional. Okay, I think it is somewhat rooted in reality, because he's correct that I think there are countries that certainly want to see America's downfall. Okay, like what? We've caused so much death and destruction all over the world, all throughout our history. Yeah, there are probably some motherfuckers out there that are like, plotting our downfall. Okay, I believe that. As a nation, I mean. And it's also true that boots on the ground is impossible. Okay, that's never gonna happen. Okay, so then, yeah, the evil within. What I'm doing is I'm giving credence to this evil within narrative. Okay, because there is some, like what I just said is basically a logical narrative. Okay, and so evil within sounds reasonable. Okay, it's just that it's not really happening. Okay, it's not really happening because there isn't enough incentive. Okay, what I just said about America doing fucked up shit is true, and a lot of people hate us for it. But this simply isn't like enough of a reason for, like, this isn't going to drive enough like action against the United States. Like, does that make sense? Like people are not going to get organized and plot and successfully pull off America's downfall. A government is not going to do this based on revenge, okay, based on, like, petty revenge. At least not one as powerful as China or as powerful as Russia, okay? Other governments around the world, this, could be said is true. Yeah, I'm trying to think of a country that has a government that, like, hates America. Yemen? Kinda. The thing is, it gets really murky when we talk about countries like this, because who's to say who's really in power? You know what I mean? They're on the brink of civil war. Like, who knows what it's gonna look like? But anyway, what was I talking about again? Oh yeah, the evil within. Yeah. The evil within. So, I think that the evil within is sort of real, okay, but it's only to a certain extent, okay. Like, I'm sorry, man. I don't think that, like, American citizens are being brainwashed into being communist by the CCP. I think that the conditions in America have gotten so bad that a lot of younger people, myself included, have turned to radical wealth redistribution as an ideology. Okay? And anyway, China is all about radical wealth redistribution. So a lot of young people be liking China. We like China, okay? China is epic. Okay, let's go. We're in the century of American humiliation now. But China is up. Okay, we love China. We're big fans of China over here on the J-Star broadcast. But anyway, if you are going to try and convince me that the blue-haired liberals are the evil within, you're gonna have a hard time, okay? Because that just doesn't really sound right to me. That just don't really, and I don't think it sounds right to most people. Okay, to most sane people. Okay, like, we're not the fucking evil within, man. Okay, but I was talking about, like, the real evil within, and, like, what is that, why is it problematic when they think it, but not you? And the answer is that they get all xenophobic with it. They get all racist with it, okay? They think that the evil within is brown people, or Jews, or something, okay? No. I think that there is real election interference that has gone on in our country. I think other countries have tried to meddle with our elections. That's undeniable at this point. Okay, Russia has done election interference. They've done it. Okay, Meta has participated in it. They have, what's the word? They have been complicit in Russia's election interference. They have capitulated to right-wingers in this country who have allowed this to happen. Okay? So, who have allowed censorship and whatnot to go on Meta's platforms. And, I think that this is all terrible. I think this is wrong. I just don't think it's China really doing it, okay? I think it's mainly Russia. I don't think China meddles in our elections a whole lot, okay? Maybe they do. Maybe they do. Fuck, China's a big country. It's big as a ton of people in it. But, like, China has its own shit to worry about. They've got their own problems. And also, I don't know if you've been paying attention, but China doesn't really need to do anything to win. Okay, they really don't. Like China is winning, and they've basically done nothing. Okay, like, look at how successful they are. Now, we can talk about how successful they will be in the future, right? And I think that they are going to be limited by the current choices they've made in their infrastructure. Okay? Now, what do I mean by this? I mean that China has unfortunately made the decision to model their infrastructure to be a lot like America's. Okay? Now, what that means is they be driving cars, automobiles. Okay? And so they have car-centered infrastructure. They got, like, if you go to China and you're an American, it'll look different, sure, but it will be very familiar for you. Okay? Because if you go to one of these mega cities, what are you going to see? You're going to see roads, you're going to see cars, you're going to see parking decks. Okay, that's what you're going to see. You're going to see a lot of cars. You're going to see big old parking decks, okay, just like home. Just like home. So, like, China has taken the American approach, and I think that that's going to come back to bite them. Okay, but we'll see. We'll see. You know, who knows? Anyway, I've rambled long enough. Let's keep going.
And for a very long time it worked, but also a lot of the projects over there have failed. They have a ton of delays, there's quality issues, or they've been completely stalled due to corruption or debt. Even though China has a lot of trade with Venezuela, and they've been very progressive on building infrastructure there, Venezuela is just so corrupt, it just hasn't really worked out for them. So China is actually kind of pissed at Venezuela, and that's going to come into play later. We'll talk about that in a minute. But basically what's being said, why is China doing it?
Yeah, all of this is true.
Because they are getting ready to dominate the world. They don't want to rule peacefully,
from what I know,
with mercy. They want to become a military global domination, and they are doing things to work towards that. They don't want to nuke people, because in doing so, they'll destroy certain parts of the world and they'll ruin their resources. They want to take control of everything, and that is a goal. A lot of people, when you talk about China, they kind of get mad, and they're like, well, you're not talking about Israel, and you're not talking about the Jews, and it's like, look, I do talk about them all the time, but you have to understand there are different factions, there are different people with different wants and different needs and different goals, and you can't have tunnel vision. And I've noticed a lot of tunnel vision. On one side, you have the people where it's all about Israel and it's all about Jews. And then on the other side, you have people where it's all about China. China, 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 China. And then you have Jew, 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 Jew. And it's like, wait a minute, it's actually both of them. And in some cases, they even work together, but they're also opposed to each other in certain areas. Do you think China wants Israel to own everything and run everything? No. Do you think Israel wants China to own everything and run everything?
Yeah, China, no, man. Look. China just doesn't give a fuck. Okay, and this is always true. Okay, whenever we're talking about this shit, like China, they just don't care. They don't care about atrocities. They don't care about, like, this evil shit. They just don't. Okay, they don't. All they care about is maintaining social cohesion and uplifting their poor people. That is all they care about. They are Maoists to the core. Okay, they fucking love Mao. That's their guy. That's their guy. And look, that's why I say, to understand China, you have to understand Mao. Okay, you have to. You have to, like, you have to have at least an American understanding of Mao, right? Like, I'm not asking you to become Chinese, okay, to become a Maoist. But you have to know just a little bit about it, okay? You do. You do. So anyway, China, I think China, if I'm not mistaken, they recognize the genocide, the Palestinian genocide. Okay? They just don't give a fuck. They just don't. And, like, I criticize them about this because they do deals with Israel. They trade with Israel. They do. Okay? They're China. Like I said, they don't give a fuck. They don't care. Okay? It's just like they're... Like, my understanding is that the Chinese are basically like, yeah, like Israel is doing a genocide, but we're just like, we're gonna do trade with them. You know? And anyway, you know, it's like I said, China does nothing. They do nothing. That is their strategy. That is what they do. They focus internally, okay? They use other countries. They trade with them. Okay? They have a very like practically they have a very practical mindset when it comes to international affairs. Okay? They don't really hold grudges, I don't think. Like they just don't. Anyway, let's keep going.
They work together sometimes, but they're also opposed to China because they are our ally, quote unquote, right? But they do a lot of deals with China. They do a lot of trade with them. But so do we. So it's like there's more to it than just one group. Now, I will say Jews have a lot of influence and they own a lot of shit, but China has a lot of influence and they own a lot of shit too. And the fact that you can go to any parts of like Africa, Asia, even in the Western Hemisphere, you can go to Venezuela on our back door and you can find railways. And
What about white Anglo-Saxon Protestants? Do they own a lot of shit? Is that a problem? Why not? Why not? If so, why not? What's going on,
that
man?
Were financed with Chinese money? That says a lot. Even in our own country, they've been buying our own shit, buying our own properties. We have to make laws to ban them from owning land here because that's the strategy they've been doing. They've been taking shit and they're setting themselves up to win. They want to win. That's why they want to take over Taiwan. In Taiwan, I did a lot of research into their defense strategy, and it's actually pretty interesting because they're very small. They don't have a lot of people. They don't have a big navy. They don't have a big military, but they have like suicide drones. They have tons of vehicles, tons of like, they have like mines that they have set up across like the strait, the Taiwan Strait or whatever they call it.
What he was just talking about is true. China has been buying private property in America, and they've been turning it into apartments. Okay, they have been, and that's the main thing they've been doing, if I'm not mistaken. They've been building apartments and renting them out to people, to Americans, and making money off of it. And if you're mad about that, you're stupid. You're stupid. If you're mad about, if you're mad about China doing that, you're stupid. Because what China is doing in that process that I just described is they are making money in the same way that our landlords make money, okay? They are just doing it themselves, okay? They are exploiting our system to make money for themselves. Okay? Like we made the system, they're just using it to make money. That's what's going on. So if you're mad about it, then be mad about the system, okay? Because it doesn't fucking matter if the Chinese are doing it to you or your local landlord. You're still getting fucked over on rent every month. You know, you're still paying $1,500 for a 1-bedroom, 1-bathroom apartment. Okay, it's crazy. It's crazy. And so that's what you should be mad about. Not fucking China.
Therefore, sir,
okay,
I do expect
and so
in there.
the overarching point I want to make here is that China didn't want this. They didn't want to do capitalism. They wanted to do communism. But America said, no, you can't do that. And at first, China was like, fuck you. We're not doing capitalism. We're doing communism. Fuck you, America. But with constant pressure, okay, with sanctions, with embargoes on other countries, America was able to convince China, and China was finally like, okay, we'll do a little bit of capitalism. We'll do a little bit. Okay? But we're going to do it in a Chinese style. Okay? We're going to do Chinese style socialist not industrialization, but socialist privatization. Okay? So they started privatizing their markets, and they started with medical care. Okay, with health care. That's what they started with. Okay, and that's why China's healthcare system has been so dystopian for so long. Like, as long as I can remember, that's all I've heard about China. Growing up, that's all I heard about them, is how, like, dystopian their healthcare was. Like, people dying in the street, nobody's doing anything, just walk right over them. You know, hospitals close on the weekends and, like, after dark, and it's just crazy. It's just crazy. Like, if you get, injured and it's the weekend, well, good luck. You know, that's the kind of shit I heard about China growing up, and I was like, God damn. Like, that's so fucked up. Like, China, like, they really need to get their shit together, okay? America, I love America. You know, I was just like a stupid little kid. Like, oh, I love America. It's so awesome here. Like, it sucks in China. And like, but like, it was ironic because it sucked because of America. Like, we did this specifically with healthcare. Okay, specifically when it comes to Chinese healthcare, it is our fault. Okay, straight up, dude. And so anyway, all that is to say is China, when they started privatizing their markets, they started doing it and they didn't like it. Okay, I don't think they did. I mean, they were like hesitant or whatever. They were like, should we, shouldn't we? Okay, but they found out how lucrative it was. And the Chinese, because they were then able to participate with trade on the global stage with any country for just, you know, privatizing a little bit of healthcare. Like, once they did that, they got a taste of success, and because America started working with them. And then we had that president that fucking did all the China deals. You know the one I'm talking about. Anyway, China started outperforming America, okay, in certain sectors. And they did this through a variety of methods, but the most important one was cheap labor. Okay, they kept the cost of labor down. And they did this by providing as much as they could to their people. Okay, because it turns out if you give your people free shit, they will work for less money. Okay, crazy, I know. Crazy how that works. So they were able to keep the cost of labor low, and part of this was also through a lack of regulation. Okay, so like labor wasn't regulated very much. People had to deal with very poor working conditions. Anybody that spoke out against this, of course, was silenced because freedom of speech is not in China. Okay, you cannot speak ill of the party in China. That goes against their rules about social cohesion. Okay, if you speak badly about the government, that could cause civil unrest. That could cause the dissipation of social cohesion. Okay, so they stamped that out very quickly. And anyway, that's pretty much it. Okay, like that's what's going on. Okay, America, we made China play this game, and now we're mad because they're winning, because they're beating us at it. So we're like the kid on the playground that's like, play with me, and then and like is very demanding about it, and then in the middle of the game we start losing, and so we change the rules, and we're like, actually you were cheating, actually I was invisible and you couldn't see me, and you cheated. So like that's what it is, man. That's what's going on.
Remote detonation. Okay. They have their own air force. They have a lot of like pretty good strategies because it is a push on China's end. They're the ones that have to get to them. They have to get to them, and to do so, it's very hard because you don't have the element of surprise because they know you're going to be coming and they're already prepared for it. Ultimately, though, it's not going to work. Taiwan will eventually lose, and it's just a numbers game. But the reason why China hasn't invaded them yet, the reason why they haven't taken them over yet, is because Taiwan does have a very impressive loadout, essentially. For as small as they are and for as little soldiers as they have, military as they have, it's pretty impressive. The suicide drones alone are actually pretty intimidating to China because, yeah, you can send tons of carriers and shit over, but if they're just going to have fleets of those things fucking ramming into your ship, kamikazing into your ship, that's going to fuck up a lot of your planning. Especially, they don't have to target every vessel. They could just target like the vessels carrying fuel or the vessels carrying certain provisions, stuff like that. You can get very strategic with how that plays out, and it could eventually, maybe it won't stop China from reaching the shores, but once they get boots on the ground, it stops them from advancing, because they also have strategies for when they have to fall back off the beach into the cities. So Taiwan's got a lot of different plans.
Hit that stimmy, bro. Hit that stim pack.
Ultimately, China would win. They just have so much.
He doesn't have one.
But it's going to require a lot, and that's why China hasn't done it already. Experts are saying it's going to take at least 500,000 personnel, maybe.
Yeah. Oh, he did have a stim pack. Okay. Anyway. Yeah. China. It's hard to say. It's hard to say with the timeline. I'm really not so sure. I mean, anybody that tells you that they know what's going to happen with China, Taiwan is lying. Okay. They don't know. Okay. Nobody fucking knows. What? I think that it's more likely that China takes Taiwan than you are like willing to admit here, and I'm really not sure why. Because I mean, you know, it may be bad for America, but it's just reality, bro. It's just like you have to understand something. Taiwanese people, they don't give a fuck about this. Not really. Okay, most of like Taiwan is not a hyper nationalist nation. Okay, like other nation states are. A lot of them want to reintegrate with China. They do. Okay, this is just like undeniable. Okay, now I'm not saying that I want that. Okay, I like my computer prices where they're at. I mean, fuck, they're skyrocketing anyway. Maybe it doesn't really fucking matter, but like, I don't want the cost of this technology to increase. But anyway, I just, I don't think it's outside of the realm of possibility that China takes Taiwan quickly and with very little force and in the near future. Okay, it could happen. It could happen. Now, at the end of the day, this would really threaten America's global dominance severely. I would go as far as to say that it would basically guarantee our downfall. Okay, from the top. Okay, that would mark the end of American dominance, and it would also mark the end of course, China's century of humiliation. But anyway, and it would begin a whole new century of American humiliation. Not that we aren't already in the century of American humiliation. We certainly are. But anyway, like, I don't really want this to happen. I'm not hoping that it will. I like my country being the top dog. Okay, I want it to keep being the best country, or the richest country. We're not the best country, but like, I want us to keep being the richest country. I more importantly want us to start ringing in these billionaires. Okay, we need to start like cleaning house, if you will. Okay, whatever you want to call it. We need to start putting them in line. Okay, they need to give us their money. Basically, they need to stop. I should say, they need to stop taking so much of our money. Okay, we subsidize rich people. We bail them out when they fuck up and they lose their money, and in return we get dick. We get nothing. We get fucking jack squat. Okay, we help them. We bail them out, the American taxpayer, and what do we get in return? Zero. We get no money. We get no health care. We get no social services. We get nothing. We get no welfare. Nothing. So it's socialism for the rich and a free-for-all for the poor. That's what I'm sick of, man.
Even like 1.5 million?
At least China executes their billionaires when they're corrupt. At least when a corrupt Chinese billionaire fucking kills a bunch of people because they're greedy, because they wanted to increase profits by 3% or whatever for the quarter. and they kill a bunch of people, at least they get executed. Okay, at least they get held accountable. They get stripped of all of their wealth and everything. You know, here you get, at worst, you get a slap on the wrist. Oh, you killed tens of thousands of people. It's okay. Just don't do it again. Just don't do it again, okay? By the way, you're gonna be making a campaign donation at the next primary, right? You know, that's how it works, man. That's how it works. And in China, they would fucking put them in front of the firing squad, okay? And I think that shit is sick as fuck. I think we need to do that. What the hell? Okay, hell yeah. If you, people be like, oh, like, you wanna start executing rich people just because they fuck up? Yes. Yes, I do. Yes, I do want to do that. Yes. Yeah, because when they fuck up, they kill thousands of people. Okay, remember Brian Thompson, rest in peace, who got blasted, who got assassinated by Luigi Mangione, allegedly? That guy killed 40,000 people the year that he was assassinated. He killed 40,000 people, and that's a lower estimate. Directly responsible. And what was going to happen to him? He was probably about to get a raise. Okay, let's be so fucking for real. Because he increased the claims denied with AI. Okay, so he was probably about to make more money for doing that. For killing people. For killing 40,000 people. Anyway, I know I got off track there.
I think in total
let's
they
keep
only
going.
have like, what, 3-4 million people in active duty in their military? So that's a big chunk. And in that number, it's estimated a lot of them are going to die from taking Taiwan. So it would be a big blow to them. So yeah, they get Taiwan, but they kind of piss everybody else off. And this is just talking in the sense that it's just being China versus Taiwan. It's not talking about us, America, because we do trade with them. They are our allies. And if a war pops off, which all the experts are saying 2027, all of them, they're all saying it. 2027 is when they will officially start.
Oh yeah, it's happening. It's happening. Yeah, it's really happening this time, guys. We're going to war with China. We're going to war with China, brother. Okay, man. Okay. Sure. Like they don't say this shit every election cycle, especially the last one. Oh, well, nobody's talking about China. Nobody's talking about China. They're planning something. They're planning something, brother. Like, okay, alright, so what if they're planning something? I don't care. I don't care. A loaf of bread is $5. A loaf of bread is $5 fucking dollars. I don't care about China. I don't fucking care about China, brother.
To conquer Taiwan.
God damn.
But they've been preparing, and the reason why they've been preparing is because they know it's not going to be easy. And then they also, after they take it over, they have to deal with the consequences after that. Can you keep it? If you show up and take Taiwan, sure, fine, but what happens when America shows up and fucks you up? What happens when their allies show up and fuck you up? There's a lot of ways that can go. But also at the same time, we're pretty far from Taiwan. 3,000, 4,000 miles, that's a big logistics issue. So it's like, it would be a minute for us to kind of respond to China attacking Taiwan. But it's basically guaranteed at this point that that's going to happen. It's going to be the next big war. And whether or not that will lead to World War III, it's very likely, because it would have a response from the United States. It would have a response from us. And it would be us directly fighting against China. So if there ever was a likelihood that some conflict would escalate to world war or even nuclear responses, it would definitely be the Taiwan-China conflict that's going to happen. So get ready for that.
I agree with that. I do agree with that. It's the most likely. I'm not saying it's definitely going to happen. Because, like I said, China they have reasons to take Taiwan. Like, there are certainly very, very big positives for China to take Taiwan. That doesn't mean that they're going to do it. It doesn't. That may sound silly, okay? And it'll certainly sound silly if they actually do it, if they actually invade. But, like, the fallout from doing that, the repercussions, hopefully the figurative fallout, okay, it's going to be detrimental. It's going to be detrimental. It's not going to be good. So, you know, there's certainly, like, a pros and cons thing going on here. I think that China, if they were if they were going to do this the smart way, which they probably will because they're fucking China, okay, they're gonna try and get America's chip manufacturing going first, okay? Because think about it. The whole problem with Taiwan is that America needs it. Okay, that's the problem. Like, China wants it, but America needs it. Okay, so we're not going to give it up. Okay, we're not going to give it up easily. As long as we don't have an alternative. Okay, and that's important. So I think that China is they certainly have a reason to try and manipulate us into doing our own chip manufacturing. Okay, and I think that would probably be what I would try to do if I, like, controlled China. If I were, like, the leader of China. That's what I would try to do. I would try to get America to like, start, you know, like, come on, guys, like, do your own fucking thing. Like, we need this shit. We need it. Okay? Now, I think that the Taiwanese chips are always going to be the most sophisticated, most likely. Okay, they've been doing it the longest. They've had the technology the longest. Okay, that's it. Okay, but we could do our own. We could have our own manufacturing operation here in America, and allegedly they've already started on it. How true that is, I'm not really sure at this point. At the end of the day, our government doesn't really ever do anything until their feet are put against the coals. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like I said, you know, 20 years, we could have it if we started today, if we start chipping away at it. But, like, the bottleneck here is we have to build the factories. Okay, these, like people wonder, and I'm speculating a little bit here, but I think that most people, when they hear about this shit, they're like, why the fuck, like, what do they have in Taiwan that's like what's so important about these factories? Like, what do they run on, fucking magic or some shit? Like, what, like, why can't we just have them here? And it's like, these are some of the most advanced machines. These are the most advanced machines in the world, on the planet, in my opinion. Okay, at least certainly as far as manufacturing, right, is concerned, like making things. Okay, maybe like particle accelerators, maybe that shit is more complicated. Okay, but like, as far as manufacturing goes, this is the most advanced technology that humans have. Okay, and these factories are big. The machines are heavy. Okay, you can't just pick them up and take them and like run off with them. Okay, you can't do that. They're too large. Okay, they're even if you like were to do that, if you were to like lift them and move them, the risk of breaking them in transit is high. Okay, I would think. So that's just not really an option. Okay, we can't pick them up and move them. Okay, so they're in Taiwan. The reasons for why they're in Taiwan in the first place is because of resources, because of resource distribution, and there's like a whole history to that I don't know about. Okay, so like, you know, we can talk about the Civil War and like why Taiwan became independent, but the question of why they became the chip manufacturer of the entire world is, you know, a different topic entirely, and I don't know as much about it. So what I do know is that this is just the way it is. Okay, this is it. Okay, so like, you know, why this happened is it's not that it's completely irrelevant, but it's just, you know, it is what it is, man. That's it. But anyway, I don't think that China, my point is I don't think China's going to invade Taiwan without giving the United States like some alternative other than like going sicko mode, okay, going wartime mode, okay, because like when you think about it, if China does that, if they do take Taiwan, they're really leaving us with no choice, okay? I'm sorry to all the America haters out there that are like, America is just evil and just does shit to be evil. I mean, like, you know, like, if they do that, we are gonna do that, okay? If they take Taiwan, we're gonna do the thing. We're gonna go to war, okay? That's what we're gonna do. So, China knows this, and I would hope that, and I'm probably correct, that they would not do that for that reason, okay? Because I think that China, you know, they say, right, it's like inscribed almost in their like legislation, right, in their text, that the CCP maintains social cohesion, okay? But I think that this extends far outside of China, okay? I think that like they take this attitude to the global stage as well, okay? They want to maintain order, like international order. They don't want wars. They don't want all this shit. They don't want chaos and death, okay? They take a very practical, a cold and calculated approach to preventing that from happening. That's what I think. And I think that that's why a lot of Americans right now find China and like Chinese attitudes to be so appealing. Okay, because in America, where it's chaotic, it's scary, there are no answers. Okay, it's all just destruction and death and chaos and sadness. Okay, and China, the Chinese attitude is kind of an answer to that, you know, to a lot of Americans. It's like, oh, okay, well, this is happening because of that, and like, and this attitude kind of gives you a way to talk about things that are brutal, things that are violent and are disturbing, in a way that makes it more digestible, you know, makes it more like palatable, okay? Because people are frightened by things mainly when they don't understand it. Okay, people are scared of the things that they don't understand. And China is basically like, you know, no, this is why it's like this. Okay, this is why we're doing this. But there's something else we have
to talk about before we move on. And I know this is a long video, but you can understand why. And that is Venezuela and what's going on with Venezuela, because we know it's not about narco terror. We know it's not about drug smuggling. It's not about any of that. Yeah. Especially with the national security strategy, which just got released in November by the
I mean, think about it. Like, why would Venezuela? We as Americans have been hearing our entire lives that it's Colombia. Colombia is the drug empire. Colombia is the drug manufacturer. Okay, but now I guess it's Venezuela. Now we're attacking Venezuela for some reason. So which is it? Which is it? Which one is So like the narrative is that Mexico is occupied by the cartels distributing the drugs and smuggling them into America, and Colombia is the manufacturing hub. Okay, but now we're going to war with Venezuela? Like, excuse me.
Which is essentially the Monroe Doctrine 2.0. And all this stuff you've seen with Operation Southern Spearhead and with South America, I mean, it's not hard to tell what's being played out here. If you strip away all the slogans, all the lawyer jargon bullshit from the national security strategy, if you just look at the pattern of the U.S.'s behavior in South America, it's clear it's not about drug operations or dispute with one government. It's a coordinated effort to reassert control over the Western Hemisphere. It's essentially a conquest. It's going to affect Venezuela, Colombia. Eventually, it's going to affect Mexico, because cartels are no longer being framed as criminal gangs. They're literally being looked at as terrorist organizations that run ports, smuggling corridors, fuel theft, and migration routes, like once they're completely categorized as a national security threat, it's going to be game on. And I mean, the whole point of this is to really just take back control of these areas. So expect to see continuous naval and air presence in the Caribbean and Atlantic. You're also going to see more sanctions on these places. You're going to see a lot of pressure on any countries that are doing deals with places like China or Russia, which is specifically Venezuela. Like they were doing deals with China,
which is like everyone.
And that's one of the reasons why the United States is going to be targeting Venezuela specifically first up, is because of those ports, is because of the telecommunications that they were working with China on. Because our government is now
America is really just fighting everyone at this point. We're like, fuck it. Let's just fight everyone. You know, gloves off. Let's go. What are we thinking, dude? This is not going to work out for us.
Recognizing that the game is being set for World War III. The next great big conflict is being set up. And so we're trying to kind of cover our ass on our own home turf, and that's the way they're going to go about it. They're going to say it's just to, fuck up drug dealers and shit for now, but no, we're going to be going to war with all of these places. We're going to be doing whatever we need to do, whether it's regime change or just pressuring the leaders that are here. And a lot of people would say that it's not a good idea to do these things because it's going to create a migrant crisis. Honestly, that's something I've said. It's going to create more people trying to come here because we destabilize their home. But to be quite honest, these things need to be done. Like, it's not a question of if we should or we shouldn't. It's we have to. And a lot of people are going to say, oh, we're only doing this because Venezuela has oil. They have all these resources, and they do have resources. They have a lot. They have like $14 trillion worth of natural resources. It's a very rich country from that point of view. So I can understand why a lot of people would think that, but that's not the main goal. The main goal is to kind of get all that shit on lock, because if you look at Venezuela's biggest allies, who are their biggest allies? It's China, it's Russia, it's Turkey. And Russia is its strongest military backer. China is the creditor. But with Russia being preoccupied with their war, and also that's fixing to ramp up too with NATO, and I know I didn't talk about that earlier, but NATO is going to be getting involved with Russia in the next few years. And with China trying to take over Taiwan, it's like Venezuela doesn't really have any allies.
What?
And because they...
What? Wait, no, go back to that. Go back. NATO's gonna get involved? What? Why do you think this? I genuinely like to know. He said it very matter-of-factly. Maybe he knows something that I don't? That I haven't heard about? I don't know. I don't know. No, I mean, with my current understanding of the conflict, that's never gonna happen. NATO's not going to fucking get involved, not unless Russia invades Poland. Okay, and they're not going to fucking invade Poland, because then NATO would get involved. Okay, so they're not going to do that. That would be stupid. But fuck no. Why the fuck would NATO get involved? Ukraine is not in NATO. Why the fuck would NATO get involved? It's crazy. No matter how bad they want to. No, like, I understand that NATO countries want NATO to get involved on this, okay? Because they're scared. They see Russia invading one of their neighbors, and they're sweating, Germany especially. But, like, it's just not going to happen. NATO's just not going to get involved. I don't know, like, what... Because, like, either he thinks that NATO will just decide to get involved for, I don't know, some stupid reason he thinks that. I don't know. Basically, he thinks that it'll happen just because of some random fact that maybe I'm not aware of. Or he thinks that Russia will invade Poland, which is crazy. They're not going to fucking do that. So, like, what? So then what are we talking about, man? What?
And with China trying to take over Taiwan, it's like Venezuela doesn't really have any allies, And because they failed with doing certain projects with China's kind of pissed at them because they do have a lot of corruption in Venezuela, and a lot of things just kind of fell through, like certain building projects, stuff like that. Certain money just kind of got lost in the sauce. And so I'd imagine China's kind of salty about all that shit, So it's like everybody who would come to their defense and be on their side, like anybody who's like a major threat to the U.S., is kind of checked out, and they don't really care. And I could be wrong, you could see something happen, but I doubt it. I don't think it's going to be a response from China.
Nothing ever happens.
Maybe, but like, I don't think it's going to be anything crazy. But like I said, it's not about Venezuela. It's a conquest for the Western Hemisphere. And it is because people are trying to put their pieces in place for a greater conflict. And so that's why Venezuela is kind of just like, it's a big talking point right now. But trust me, there's going to be a lot more things to talk about when it comes to this whole operation. It's going to be other countries, other people. And like I said, the last thing we need is to just destabilize these countries and just create another migrant crisis to where they try to come here. Because we have an immigration problem. We have a legal immigration problem. There's too many people here on visas that should not be here. We need to get rid of those people. And we have an illegal immigration problem. And that's honestly like my biggest problem with all of this stuff is we need to start taking care of our own shit in our own country. And that's what's so frustrating about all this, because I understand that we can't be isolationists at this point. It's too late for that. We can want that more than anybody else, but it doesn't matter. It's like we do have enemies, not only within, but also outside of our borders.
I wouldn't say it's too late for it. Like, we could go isolationist. What? No, we could do it. It would just be incredibly stupid. Okay, it would be really bad. It would be a really bad idea. Okay, and anyway, we've floated this idea in our country's history. We've done it, and guess what? They decided that it was a dumb idea, because it would have been, because it wouldn't work, because it's stupid when any country does it. Isolationism never works. Never. It just doesn't. Okay, but anyway, like, there's nothing stopping us from doing it technically, other than, the fact that it's stupid and that it wouldn't work. But it's not too late, buddy. Okay, we could do it. Okay, we could go back and do it.
And they are gearing up
or
for
we could do it now.
Domination. Eventually, that is something they are working towards, and we have to accept that, and we have to understand it's like, well, we'll have to have a response to that in some way. And I think this can actually be done to where we benefit from it and it doesn't completely destabilize these countries, because if we're going to be getting rid of these cartel groups, and a lot of people, they freak out about that, they get mad, they're like, oh, well, you've never seen, like, these military people, these American soldiers, they've never seen the cartels. And it's like, trust me, dude, the cartels, I get it, they're brutal, but they, like, dude, if you're going to tell me the cartels are going to even fucking stand a chance against, like, SEAL Team 6 pulling up, get the fuck out of here. It's going to be a slaughterhouse on those fuckers. And I think it's not going to take much before you're going to start seeing a lot of those people kind of just give up. I don't think you're going to have to kill all of them. I think you're going to kill a pretty good amount of the cartels, and then it's going to be done in a way to where it just sends the message that it's unwinnable. Like, you're going to lose. You're basically throwing your life away, give up. And I mean, a lot of these people, they don't even like the cartels to begin with. It's all based off fear, So it's like, I've met tons of people that have come from Mexico, lived in Mexico, have family there. They all talk about it the same way. It doesn't matter if they're conservative or if they're fucking liberal as shit. They all think of Mexico as the same way. They'll hate on America all day long, day in and day out, but they'll refuse to live in Mexico because it's fucking terrifying. And they're afraid of the cartels, and they're afraid of the violence. I know one guy, his cousin...
I've talked about this before, the organization of these cartels in Mexico and how it works. It doesn't affect all Mexicans, okay? It just affects most of them, okay? The ones living in rural areas, anyway. Because basically the cartel has influence in some parts of the country. In other parts of the country, they just control huge swaths of land, okay? They have all of it, okay? There is no opposition to them. They basically act as the government, okay? Which is why people in the Mexican government do deals with them and talk to them, okay? Because, like, the cartel members, in a way, are representatives of their communities. Because there is no, like, there is no government control there, okay? The cartel is the government, okay? And a lot of people, they struggle to understand this because governments are official, okay? Governments have rubber stamps, okay? But that's an illusion, okay? Not as like we, woke people, or like, we people interested in politics, we know this, okay? We know that governments are just groups, okay? They're just groups of people, and anyway, it doesn't have to be an official organization, and that's just the way it works, man. Like, these cartels have taken over. They are the government now. You could say that we can go to war with them, and that's true, but if you're gonna try to argue that, like, oh, SEAL Team 6 would, like, decimate them, I don't think so, man. Like, you realize how ridiculous this sounds if you were to put it a little differently, okay? Like, if instead of saying SEAL Team 6 will absolutely decimate the cartel, if instead of saying that you said something like, the entire American military, the American military-industrial complex will decimate random Vietnamese rice farmers, okay, right? Like, that sounds correct. That sounds like you would be correct, but actually you would be, oh, that's right, you would be fucking incorrect, because we got annihilated by those Vietnamese rice farmers. So, no, it's not so cut and dry. You know, it's not like, oh, we'll just go to war with the cartels and we'll those stupid brown people, oh, we'll wipe the floor with them. Yeah, well, we'll see. We'll fucking see. But I'll tell you what, man. Whether we beat them or not, the guys that we send there, when they come home, they're gonna have PTSD. Okay, they're gonna be like, they're gonna have to deal with this for the rest of their lives. Okay, they're not gonna get adequate health care from the VA. They're not gonna get what they should. They're not gonna get everything that they should, and it's bullshit. It's bullshit. They're probably gonna get even less than the veterans of the past have gotten, and they got a shitty deal when they came home. So, like, no, I don't advocate for this. I'm not ever gonna fucking advocate for a racist bullshit-ass war, just because, like, Fent, or whatever. Oh, there's Fent. Fent exists. Oh, it's such a big problem. It's such a big problem. There's so much Fent. Everybody's on fucking Fent, and it's all because of the brown people, okay? That's why. That's why we gotta do it, J-Star. That's why. Yeah, man.
Fucking decapitated, and his mom found his head on her doorstep because he like had some issues with like a local cartel. It was in like a smaller city in Mexico, but that's just how it is. Even in the nicer and more fancier parts of that country, it's still dangerous. Not just for white people, for anybody. It's not a safe place to be. And so, in us dealing with these issues, it can be done in a way that doesn't destabilize them. When a lot of people talk about regime change, they talk about the Middle East, and they talk about us in the Middle East, and they say stuff like, oh, well, that destabilized the entire country, and it ruined the entire country. And it's like, I don't know if you understand this, but remember what we talked about with Israel earlier in this video, about their plans for the Middle East and, you know, what they really wanted and what they want? The destabilization was the goal. Now, the masses of people didn't know that. The majority of us, we bought all the bullshit and thought it was for freedom and justice and liberty and NASCAR and all that bullshit and bringing it over to the Middle East. We thought it was that. It was never supposed to be that. The actual people who made the decisions, who actually drew up the strategies for those wars, for those regime changes, it was never in the plans to actually not destabilize those countries. That was the whole point, because Israel has benefited greatly from those things, because that was the goal. So acting like if we did that here in Venezuela or in Mexico or any of these other places, acting like it would be the same thing, we would have a migrant crisis, and I could see how we would think that. I even thought that, but giving it some more time to just kind of sit on it, I kind of realized it's like, wait a minute, if we actually don't want to destabilize these people, it won't happen. And plus,
yeah, man. Yeah, it's gonna be awesome. It's gonna be all rainbows and unicorns and sunshine and frolicking in the grass. Yeah, you know what we're gonna do? We're gonna surgically strike the evil cartels, and we're gonna get rid of the cartels, and then the country is gonna be so great. It's gonna be so perfect, and they're all gonna be so thankful. And it's totally not going to cause lots of death and destruction and chaos and a brand new migrant crisis. Yeah, man, for sure. Yeah, this conflict will never lead to people fleeing their homes for fear of their own lives, because we're fucking bombing them. Because that's what America does when we do shit like this. When we what I'm saying is, these motherfuckers, they make it sound all sweet and nice. Okay, oh, we're just gonna kill the terrorists. We're just gonna kill the terrorists. Yeah, when they say that, what they're advocating for is our country to bomb civilians, to bomb innocent people, because maybe there are terrorists hiding among them. Maybe there are evil cartel members. We gotta take them out. We gotta take out their families. We gotta kill their whole families. Okay, that's what we gotta do. That's what we gotta do. That's what he is advocating for. Make no mistake. Okay? And I find it so fucking disgusting and disingenuous when they say shit like that. Like, we just need a little bit more war, guys. Just a little. We're gonna do it real surgically this time, though. We're just gonna cut out the bad. We're just gonna cut them out. Like, no, man, we shouldn't be doing any of this shit. We shouldn't be sending soldiers to a foreign country that has not done any, has made no direct military action against us. What are we talking about? Like, keep in mind, the Venezuelan government has done nothing to us. They have done nothing. They have not been aggressive. They have not, they've done nothing. They haven't even obstructed us from flying in their airspace, from blowing up their people. They haven't even tried to stop us, and you're sitting over here acting like the Venezuelan government is like in on it with the terrorist or whatever. Okay, like, no, man. This is stupid. This is stupid. We should not be talking about starting armed conflicts with a country that hasn't fucking done anything to us. Ever.
There's a lot of people that live in these places that want regime change. And if we can make those places safer through force, because you gotta understand, we have to do this. Like, we have to gain control of the Western...
We have to. We cannot not do this. Why? Why do we have to do this? Like you're just saying, like, we have to do this, and what... Like, what? Why? Why do we have to? What is your reasoning?
Hemisphere. If we don't, that is going to be a liability for us. It could be just a few years down the road.
Oh, it's a liability. It's a liability. Oh, okay. Well, what the fuck does that mean? What do you mean by that? How? How is it a liability? How is Venezuela just a few short years away from going sicko mode on America, going ballistic on America? What is it? What are you so worried about? I want to understand. I want to understand what the fuck you are trying to say. Because this is just idiotic.
That's how fast all this shit is escalating, man. We need to start getting this shit done now. And I'm not saying we have to go full-on war. I don't want full-on war with anybody. But I'm just saying it's like, it's going to happen.
I don't want full-on war. It's going to happen anyway. We should just get a head start on it, guys. Okay, we should just go ahead and... We should just start doing it. Okay, come on. Really, man? Really? Oh, I don't want a war. I just want to start a little conflict here, a little operation there. Come on, bro. Like, be so fucking serious for once.
And acknowledging that, we have to be realistic, and we have to understand there might be some good that comes out of it. If these places get rid of all the cartels, if we fucking wipe these fuckers off the face of the map, and it becomes like a safer place for the people living there, that will actually fix a lot of the immigration issues. That could actually help fix the smuggling on the border. That could actually fix a lot of the drug trafficking.
Yeah, bro. Just a little more conflict, just a little more war. It's gonna fix everything. Everything's gonna be great. Everything's gonna be awesome. We just gotta kill the right people. Okay, take them out. And then everything will be perfect. Come on, bro. Like, who the fuck buys this shit?
All of that comes from the cartels. The sex trafficking. Like, do you know how bad that is?
How does this person have... He's got 5,000 views in 14 hours? Okay, this person has 30 videos. He has released 30 videos. He has accumulated over 12,000 subscribers, and it's so crazy to me.
Border,
it's so
even
crazy.
In the city I grew up in, and I'm not going to say what city it is, but even in the city I grew up in, dude, it's a major city, big city. From a very young age,
Come
I was
on,
taught,
don't
go to certain places at certain times, especially if you're a girl. Why? Because you're going to get kidnapped. Why are you going to get kidnapped? You're going to be put in a sex slave operation. You're going to be trafficked. I even knew a girl when I was a lot younger, and that happened to her. She got kidnapped, and she got trafficked across the fucking border. And it was horrible, dude. She was 16. So it's like, that's real shit. And that's shit that's happened in my life. Like, I've seen that. And so I know it's a bad thing. You look at the numbers, it's horrible. Especially with really young girls, it's fucked up. All of that comes through there. You know, it's like killing two birds with one stone in doing this. Not only do we secure our back door from influence with China and Russia and all these enemies, but also we make those countries better and safer. And I know nobody's going to buy this or believe me. Everyone's going to be like, oh, that's fucking bullshit. You don't know what you're talking about. It's like, look, man, it's going to happen regardless of whatever you say. You and I can sit here all night and we can bitch about this. That's not changing the fact that this is happening. You think this stuff started when they started bombing the narco ships?
Yeah, you're right, bro. You're right, bro. You're just telling it like it is. Sorry, liberal. Sorry, like it or not, brown people are savages. They are.
The ships. You think that's when it started? No, dude. This shit started.
Yeah, man.
Ago. Like, this stuff has been brewing for a long time. Venezuela's been working with China for a long fucking time. All of these things have been in motion for a while. So it was gonna happen eventually, and it might as well happen now because it needs to be done.
Pieces.
And in doing that,
they're all falling together. Bro, you started looking at politics like 5 fucking seconds ago. Just like, please stop acting like you have the fucking crystal ball, that you've seen it all. You've seen all the things, and you know. And you predict the future. You don't know what the fuck is going on. You have no idea. You have no idea what's actually going on. You're just a teensy-weensy little microorganism in a teensy little bubble. Okay? So shut up.
make them better. Get rid of a lot of these cartels that are causing a fuckload of issues. The drug trafficking is bad. That's horrible. The gang violence in our nation that comes from the cartels, it's not as bad as some of the other gangs, but it's still bad. They do a lot of fucked up shit in our nation. You go to some of these major cities and you see all the barbaric things that are happening, and it's like a lot of it has ties to these places to begin with. We should have fucking done this decades ago. But if we can make our neighbors safer places, and not only make them safer for them, but safer for us in the sense that we don't have as much trafficking, we don't have as much drugs, all this fucked up shit, dude, we can actually secure our borders. It eliminates the reasoning of, oh, I came here because I'm fleeing violence or I'm fleeing the cartels. It's gonna be, get the fuck out of here. No, your country's good enough. You can stay there because that is a problem. We gotta deal with the immigration. And with our neighbors being safer and better, they can build themselves up. They can have a better economy. We can do more trade with them. This will benefit us in so many ways in the long run, as long as they don't get destabilized. That's what's going to happen with Venezuela.
Yeah, as long as we just do a little conflict, but we gotta do it surgically, okay? We're gonna do it surgically this time. Surgical strikes. Yeah, man. Look, since you're new to this, I'll go ahead and clue you in. People like you have been saying this for many decades, and it's starting to not work anymore. Okay, but like, I think you recognize this. Okay, you would recognize this about something like the war on Iraq. Okay, because that was so blatant, so obvious, and it was Israel as well. So you can conveniently blame the Jews or whatever. But like, yeah, this is something that we've been doing for like so many decades. You conservatives, you'll say, oh, just one more war, just one more surgical strike. Like we gotta, this'll make everything better, and then no more, and then no more war. Okay, then we're done with it. Then we're done with it for real. Okay, we gotta use our powers for good. Okay, come on, just like one more bombing campaign. Just one more bombing campaign. We gotta do it this time. We gotta. They're really bad. They're really bad. We need to liberate their people. We're gonna liberate them with bombs. To bomb them. We're gonna liberate. Okay? Like, and it's just the same shit. Over and over and over. Like, give it up, man. We're not buying it. Nobody is fucking buying it anymore. Okay? It's over. I genuinely don't think that Americans will, and maybe I'm naive for thinking this, but like after the Israel shit, I don't think Americans are ever gonna be on board with bullshit wars like this ever. Okay, like Vietnam was unpopular. Okay, like all of these wars have been unpopular. Okay, but like now, because the problem is they're only unpopular after they go on for a little while. The problem is that we start these wars, we get into them, and then we can't just leave. Okay, so we're stuck. So getting that initial approval is important. Okay, it's hella important. Because when it's all said and done, everybody was against the Vietnam War, and yet we got into it. How did that happen? So now that we're fucking 20 years out, everybody opposed the Iraq War. Everybody opposed it, and yet we got into it. Okay, and this is how. This is how they do it. Oh, just another little war. Oh, the people there are going to be so thankful. They're going to be so happy that we intervened. We helped them. Yeah. Right.
To completely steamroll them. I think we're either going to do regime change.
Yeah. So Venezuela, we're going to do a regime change. We're going to be best friends. They're all going to love us for it. We're going to be great trading partners. You are fucking delusional, man. You have been taking crazy pills. You have been drinking insanity juice. Okay,
I think we're gonna stabilize those places, and then it works out because if we start doing deportations, we can send these people back to the.
We're gonna stabilize. Okay, like dude, these conservatives, they live in a fairy tale dreamland. Okay, they're like, yeah, we're gonna start an armed conflict with this country, and that's gonna restore order. That's gonna create peace. Yeah, and then we're gonna take the people, okay, and we're gonna deport them back there, and it's gonna work perfectly because there's gonna be so much peace. And then we can deport them. Like, dude, you need to be checked in. You need to be checked into like an actual ward. Like you have lost it. You have lost the plot, bro.
Their countries,
that's crazy.
A lot of it does come from Mexico. A lot of it does come from Venezuela. Their countries will be better. They'll be safer, and it'll be easier for us to kick them out and to move on from Venezuela. I know this is
yeah. It's gonna be so much safer. It's gonna be so much safer while we're bombing them, while we're bombing the fuck out of them. Yeah, so safe.
Long video, but
so safe.
You understand why? We're talking about a lot of things that all connect with each other, and it's gonna have a big impact on your life in the next few years. But to be honest with you, there's three things as
because Gaza was so safe, right? Gaza was so safe while they were pelting them with American bombs, while they were surgically striking with American missiles. Gaza was famously so safe there. So say anybody could go there and just be safe, okay? Especially if you're a child, especially if you're a little baby Palestinian. It's especially safe for you. Like this is the level of argumentation that you're actually making right now. Okay, you're acting like bombing Venezuela. Okay, which is what we will do if we actually go through with this. Okay, you're acting like that is going to bring peace and stability to the region, and that is so utterly idiotic. Like I don't know how to like debunk this and dissect it, because it's wrong at face value. Like it's just, you think about it for like 1 fucking second, you're like, wait, this is the dumbest bullshit I've ever fucking heard in my entire life. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? How does this person have 12,000 subscribers? This makes no fucking sense, man.
We have to do simultaneously to essentially assure our survival. And like I've already said, the number one is deporting all the illegals and also having remigration in our country with the legal immigrants that should be here. The ones that are obviously here to replace us, whether they know that or they're just being used by one of our own American companies to betray us and sell us out, we need to get rid of them. It just has to happen. Like, that's step one. Step two is we have to get rid of all the dual loyalist people in our government, the ones with multiple citizenships to other countries, no expectations whatsoever. I don't give a fuck if you're Jewish, if you're Chinese, whatever. You cannot have a dual loyalty to another nation, not even just a citizenship or a passport. Like, you have to be America first, straight up. And it just so happens a lot of those people in our government are fucking Jewish, so they have to go. That's the second step. And that's probably going to be the hardest one to do. And it's funny because out of all these things we're talking about, that's probably going to be the one that takes the longest to enact. But the third thing we have to do is we do have to secure the Western Hemisphere. We have to start setting up a strategy for World War III. It has to happen. I know we talk about World War III and we have this idea like, oh, it's just gonna pop out of nowhere. And it's like, yes, but your enemies are getting their shit ready. They're taking out the people they need to take out. They're acquiring the minerals and the materials they need. They're getting all the resources they need. They're preparing. And you know how we talked about nuclear annihilation, and will all this lead to nuclear war? Well, it very well could. We will be closer to nuclear war than ever before in the next 3 years. Than ever before in all of human history. The way all the things are going, with NATO fixing to send 800 troops against Russia, with China fixing to attack Taiwan, with the US having to respond, with the stuff that's going to go on with Venezuela and all of those places, like all these different things, it's one big powder keg, dude, and it can set off with what Israel's doing in Palestine and all the moves they're going to be making. This is setting up for World War III. And whether you want to admit it or not, there's going to be conflicts, and we will be involved in that conflict. There's going to be war. It's coming. And it's not going to be pretty. But I will say this, before nukes start flying, because nukes are a possibility, and a lot of people kind of have this idea that World War III will just be nukes. When you talk to them about it, it's like, yeah, it's just going to be us launching nukes at each other. And to be honest, it's going to be everything but nukes. That's what World War III is going to be. It's going to be everything you can think of. It's going to be drones. It's going to be propaganda. It's going to be espionage. It's going to be Cold War tactics. It's going to be full frontal assault. What's fixing to happen with Taiwan, with China, is essentially D-Day in 2027. In a year from now, when that shit starts popping off, you're going to see videos of suicide drones. You're going to see videos of people getting fucked up on ships. You're going to be seeing videos of aerial battles. There's never been a conflict of this magnitude at a time where we have this much camera footage and surveillance. Like, you're going to be seeing even more fucked up shit than you're seeing in Palestine or in Ukraine. And what is Palestine? What is Ukraine? What are all these things? They are signs of what is...
So I thought so. So I looked it up just to make sure. Because NATO has done this before, and it's just, like, normal. So I thought maybe the fact that he was bringing it up here was, like maybe something else was going on. They're just reinforcing their border. Okay, NATO has, for those of you that don't know, NATO has a border on Eastern Europe. Okay, it does not include Ukraine. Okay, because Ukraine is not in NATO. Okay, obviously, so they have a border. They are guarding it. That's it, okay? NATO isn't going to get involved with Russia as long as Russia doesn't push past that border, which they aren't going to fucking do, because then NATO would get involved, and then that would fuck over their entire plan of, you know, of like fucking with America, okay? That's what they're doing, okay? Russia just wants to fuck with America. They're doing this through Ukraine, because Ukraine is not protected by NATO. NATO is what they really fear. Okay? NATO is what Russia really fears. But I shouldn't say that they fear NATO, because they really don't. Because it's just like, NATO is like a sleeping bear. Okay? It's not dangerous as long as you don't poke it. Okay? Russia is not scared of NATO because they are not going to poke the bear. So, yeah, anyway, you're stupid. You're stupid if you think that, like, NATO is gearing up for war with Russia. That's crazy. Maybe they are anticipating it. You know, maybe. I could see that. Like, maybe they're thinking, what if Russia invades Poland? But it's just that they're wrong, okay? Russia's not gonna do that. They're never gonna fucking do that. You're insane if you think they're gonna do that. Okay? Even if you are Eastern European, you're insane if you think that. But I don't blame you as much, okay? Because Russia is kind of scary, okay? So I don't know, I might think that too if I were them.
This stuff is not slowing down. It's going to keep escalating. And that's why it sucks, because, to be honest, it's like, as Americans, we have so many problems, and most of our problems come from our own politicians. They come from within. We have so many issues in our own nation. The world is moving, and things are being set in motion that cannot be undone. And so we're going to have to deal with the stuff on the inside and the outside at the same time. But after everything escalates, after everything gets to the most extreme, that's when nukes will start flying. And the moment nukes start flying in this conflict, whatever we're heading towards, that's going to be the end. I don't think we're going to have a scenario like we did with Hiroshima and Nagasaki, to where you can just drop it on somebody and they can't fight back. I think any use of nuclear weapons at this point will basically just be in-game. Like, it's curtains at that point. Like, we're all dead. And the people who would survive whatever world they would survive in, it's not going to be pretty. But I think before the nukes start flying, it's going to get brutal. I think a lot of it's going to be done through drone warfare. There might even be biological weapons that get used beforehand. I don't think it's going to be just nukes. I don't think that's going to be the first thing. And I could be wrong. I'm not a fucking tactician. You know, I'm not in the fucking military. But from what I would assume, nukes would be the last option. And when they're used, it's game over. Like, you don't have to worry about your career or your family, because those aren't going to be things. And I know that sounds fucked up, but, like, we all know that. Like, nobody...
Yeah, pushing the red button is suicide, and that is precisely why no one will ever do it. Okay, it's highly unlikely. Okay, why the fuck would you do that? Why would you nuke another country? You're gonna get nuked. Okay, you're dead. Dead is over. So, like, nobody's gonna fucking do it. Okay, nobody's gonna do it unless not only do they have a death wish for themselves, but their family, everybody that they ever knew growing up, in their adult life as well. Like, everyone's dead. You're killing yourself. You're killing everyone that you ever knew. Okay, it's stupid. Nobody's gonna do it. Okay, and also, if I'm not mistaken, like, every country that has a nuclear program, it's not just one person that has that can push the button. Okay, like, I think maybe in America, right, there's the football. Okay, so, like, maybe the president can, but I don't think so. I think even the president needs like key holders or something to like, you know, give the go ahead. Okay, but anyway, pretty much every country, again, if I'm not mistaken, every single country with a nuclear program that we know of, okay, so, like, Israel is the exception to this. Okay, but every country that we officially know has a nuclear program. They all have multiple, fail safes. You have to go through multiple brains to get the launch to happen. Okay, so yeah, I mean, it's probably not going to happen. We're probably not going to get blown up by nukes. There are much more likely, more probable, more scary world-ending scenarios. And honestly, biological weapons is one of them. Okay, that's not even the main one. Okay, the main one is, of course, climate change. But But like a biological weapon that escapes a laboratory or that spreads faster than they think it will, and like that could kill everyone. Okay, that could kill all humans. That and very quickly. You know, you see something like COVID-19. Like COVID was definitely made in a lab, right? At this point, that's just kind of that's food for thought, I guess. But like that's what happened. Okay, that it likely came from a laboratory, and so you think about like what could there be that we don't know about that didn't get out, right? You know, I'm just saying. I'm not saying it to like scare anyone, because you shouldn't be scared, because this is another incredibly unlikely scenario. But I'd say it's more likely than a nuclear holocaust. Yeah. But anyway, climate change is the much more real threat and more immediate threat, one that will affect billions of humans over the next few decades, and who knows after that. It could, climate scientists will tell you about the runaway greenhouse effect, right? So like right now, we're at a stage where we can slow it down. We could, in the past, we could have even stopped it. But in the future, it's going to start, if we keep burning these fuels, right? Like, unless we completely stopped, if we keep burning CO2 and putting it in, or if we keep burning fossil fuels and pumping CO2 into the atmosphere, eventually it'll cause this cycle, right? Because there's greenhouse gases, carbon dioxide among others, trapped in layers of ice. Okay, so as the planet heats up, the ice melts, the gases go into the atmosphere, and that warms the planet even more, causing more ice to melt, yada yada. It's a cycle. Okay, and so that is the runaway greenhouse effect, and that is something that we could see within the next couple of decades. Okay, and when it starts happening, it'll happen very quickly, it'll happen very fast, and it will displace billions of people. It will cause mass starvation. Okay, people will begin to starve. This is because of crop failure. Okay, when there's a runaway greenhouse effect and the planet starts heating up, our crops are going to die. Okay, because we're used to growing them in the today climate, but we're not going to be so good at growing them in the future climate. Okay, in the hot climate. I should say the extreme climate. Okay, because it's not just going to get hotter. It's going to weather is going to be more extreme. Okay, think more severe thunderstorms. Okay, cold snaps. Okay, colder fronts. Okay, so like the cold months are going to be really cold, and the hot months are going to be really hot. That's what's going to happen. Okay. So anyway, all that is to say, if you are scared of the nukes going off, you're crazy. Like I think you have your priorities a little wrong. Okay?
Really thinks the world's going to continue on from that, and all the experts, that's what they say. Literally all of them, they all have the same opinion. You talk to these people that know a lot about the nuclear programs in all these different countries, and what's the one question they get asked? It's like, what are you most hopeful for? And it's like, well, I just hope nobody fucking presses that button, nobody makes that order, because they understand there's no coming back from that ever. So I think things will get hot, and I think they'll get pushed to their absolute limits, and you'll have the war conflicts with Venezuela.
I think that I've been labeled an optimist before. Okay, like to a fault. It's like a bad thing or whatever. I kind of disagree with this. I think that nuclear war would certainly be detrimental to our species, but would it mean the end of humanity? No. I think that our species will prevail. It's almost like it was ordained by God or something for our species to survive. I mean, we've overcome so many obstacles already. You think a little nuclear annihilation is gonna wipe us out? Like, I don't think so. I don't think so, man. We have bunkers. We have agriculture. Okay, you think that living underground is gonna stop us from growing food? No. It's not. So yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't think that that's realistic. I think humans are like cockroaches. That's why cockroaches love us so much. Okay, that's why they follow us everywhere. Because we're like them. Okay, we're survivors. We are. Like humans have, human bodies have survived crazy shit that you never would have thought a person could survive. Okay. I don't think nuclear war is going to take us out. I don't think a mass extinction event is going to take us out. Obviously, I mean, we're already in a mass extinction event and we're just getting better. Okay. Like we're just, our population is growing. Okay. We're the best animal. Okay, humans are the most successful animal on the planet, and I don't think a little nuclear bomb is going to change that. Okay, so I'm not going to worry about it. Maybe I die in nuclear war. Maybe everybody I ever knew and loved dies, but the species will go on. So in a way, I'm like, obviously it's not ideal. Okay, I don't want this to happen. But I just like, I mean this very matter-of-factly. Like, it would be detrimental to our species. It would set us back thousands of years. But I don't think nuclear war would end us. No.
Conquest in the Western Hemisphere, you'll have all the conflicts with China, Russia, all these different places, and it could escalate to a world war. They could just be self-contained. That's honestly best case scenario at this point. But World War III will eventually happen. And so whether it happens in the next few years or it happens decades from now, we have to start preparing accordingly. And if that means we have to deal with all these Jews in our nation and all these fucking immigrants in our nation, whether it's illegal immigrants or the legal people here on visas or whatever, like if that means we have to deal with all that bullshit with also Taiwan and Venezuela, then so be it. Like we don't have a choice. And I know it sounds fucked up because it is. It's almost as if either way the war machine, the war complex wins because it does. And that's the kind of the thing that fucking sucks about all this bullshit, because even if we do take control of the government, even if we do subvert all the fifth colonists that are in power and we take control of it and it becomes America first, truly, the war complex is still going to be here. There's still going to be a version of it, and it's going to be kind of needed for us to ultimately survive, which fucking sucks. But what can you do? Our hands are kind of getting tied. And these are things we have to talk about and think about because they're choices.
No, our hands are not tied. It is America who is tying the hands of everyone else. Okay? Who has the biggest military on the planet? Like, think about it, man. Who is the escalating force in this equation? The answer is America. The answer is Americans. Okay? It's us. We are doing this. This is just our own product. Okay? This world that we live in. We did it.
The decisions we're going to have to start making as a country. And to anybody that would say, oh, well, we don't have to make that decision. We don't have to choose between these two things. Like, we don't have to do this. It's like, well, if we don't do it, somebody else is going to make the decision for you. Because whether you like it or not, we don't live in a perfect world. We live in a world where people want power and they want dominance. And we've already been taken over. Like, it's already happened. So that's what I'm saying is, like, we have two wars we're going to have to fight. But acting like China and all these other people are not threats to us and don't absolutely want to destroy you and your way of life. Did you not see how we just caught a Chinese woman trying to smuggle in pathogens into a fucking country just a few weeks ago? And if she would have succeeded, do you know how many people would have fucking died? They don't like you. And if you try to be passive and be an isolationist, we can't be isolationists. The time for that is over. Like, it's too late for us to be that type of country. And we do have power. That doesn't mean we world police. That doesn't mean we go to the Middle East. We get the fuck out of there. That's none of our business.
People
but the
want
Western
to
Hemisphere,
kill
we gotta have that
you.
unlocked.
They want to
and we'll
kill
talk about a few
you.
different things regarding all this, because there's a lot of things I don't like about this as a solution, as an option. But we don't have a choice. We have to do it.
Right.
And if we don't do it now, we're going to have to eventually do it. You think these cartels, the fact that they have been the original cause for so much death in our own nation, and I always hear excuses, people saying, oh, well, they're not the real drug dealers. It's actually the pharmaceutical companies. I get it's both of them. But trying to act like they're not in our country, fucking shit up, killing people, trafficking your daughters, selling drugs, doing all this fucked up shit, like that's been going on for way too long. And I understand we have a lot of problems and we have to deal with a lot of things here internally. I get that more than most people, especially if you've been watching my channel. You understand, exactly what I mean by that. But we have to, these cartel people, bro, these countries that are right next to us, we have to start fucking them up. And we have to start doing it like yesterday. Too many people have died as the results of these little fuckers running around, breaking our laws, violating us in so many different ways. They are a major problem. So we have to deal with it. And if they're going to already make the decision to deal with it now, we might as well just go down that path because we don't have a choice anyways. But there will be some good that can come out of this. There is some things we can benefit from it, but there are some things we have to worry about. All of these wars, all of these conflicts, they're all going to be starting around the same time. People are going to start making alliances, making deals. Things will escalate from there. So there's no ignoring it. We have to get prepared. We have to get ready because if we're not ready for this, we're just going to lose. Like, that's just how this shit's going to go. But there is one thing we do have to do. Is we cannot fail our veterans. I would never in a million years tell somebody to go join the military, but that doesn't stop people from doing it, and it doesn't change the fact that a lot of people are there. There are a lot of people that are just joining the military because they want to have a better life for themselves, they want to get out of certain situations, and then you have people that are actually really patriotic, and they love their family, and they love their country, and they have a pride for being American, and they want to serve. And we're fixing to come into a time where there's going to be a lot of war, and we're going to be involved in quite a bit of it. And we cannot fail our veterans. Time and time again, we have failed our own people. You saw it with the videos I played at the beginning of this. The amount of veterans that kill themselves every day, I did some research into this, it's estimated to be up to like around 40 now, every day. You have people going to the VA trying to get help, whether it's medical, psychological, whatever, because of all the fucked up situations we put those people through, all the stress we put on their bodies for their service, so they could give us what we have, and we turn around and we ignore them. Now look at what's
okay, okay, I don't agree as much. So we can have what we have. Yeah, no, that's not why. Our veterans fight wars, not for our freedom, not for even our material gain, but for the material gain of rich people, of the oil barons. Okay, that's why we go to war. Are you thinking right now? Because this should be your position as a right wing, as a groyper. Okay, you should agree with me on this. Like, we go to war for bullshit, not for freedom, not for our way of life. No, are you stupid? Our way of life sucks. It sucks. It's exploited by rich people. Okay? It's just you don't blame rich people. You blame brown people. You blame the immigrants. Okay, brother? Brother, it's the immigrants. You're stupid.
Of them are committing suicide in their fucking cars in the VA parking lot. And yet we'll let some fucking immigrant walk over here and they'll get benefits.
Well, he is correct, though, about the way we treat our veterans, the veteran perspective. You know, veterans are mistreated. They are. They're exploited people. You know, you can point and you can say that they're baby killers, whatever. Okay, obviously, the choice to join the American military is incorrect. You shouldn't do it. Okay? But people do it, and people do it for different reasons. And sometimes I admire those reasons, okay? Like, people join the military because they're brave, because they're courageous, because they believe in something bigger than themselves. That's something that I admire. Okay, those are qualities that I admire. And I truly believe that most veterans, they join and they think they're doing the right thing. They think that they're helping the country, the world. They think they're doing good. And that matters. It does. Alright, let's finish this video.
Bullshit, man. It's fucking bullshit. And that's the one thing we can't do. We can't stop what's coming. We can't stop everything. We can't change everything. We can't have everything be perfect. But we need to, as Gen Z, we need to support our veterans. And as millennials, too. I know a lot of millennials are watching this. We can't fail these people. We can't continue to fail them anymore, and we cannot leave them behind. We cannot abandon these people. Because trust me, the war's going to get brutal. There's going to be a lot of fucked up shit that's going to happen. And a lot of these younger men and women, especially the men, they're going to go through the blunt of it, and we have to be here for them. And if anything, let this be a test to see how much we really give a fuck about our veterans. Because we've left them behind so much that, honestly, I don't even think we deserve a country with how poorly we've treated our own. So let this be a test of how much we can show support for these people with what's to come. Because the war's going to happen. There's nothing you can do about it. There's nothing I can do about it. It has already been set in motion. It's not stopping.
Who failed the veterans? Was it citizens? Was it American citizens that didn't appreciate them enough? Right? Was it a lack of appreciation? I don't think so. I think it was our government that failed them. I think it was our institutions. Okay? So when you say stuff like this is a chance for us to see how much we like our veterans, like, you know, I kind of agree. But But on an institutional level, I agree. Like, we as Americans, we do appreciate our veterans. Okay, like, I'm talking regular Americans. Okay, not the government, not the institutions, not the VA. They don't give a fuck about our veterans, but we do. Okay, that's why it's thank you for your service, thank you for that. Like, that's just normal here. Okay, for anybody that isn't in America, that doesn't know, in America, whenever you see a veteran, you're supposed to thank them. You're supposed to thank them for their service. Okay, and most people do. Okay, so like, you know, it's not up. My point is, it's not up to us. Okay, we treat them fine. we as like the people treat our veterans just fine. It's our government that needs to, you know, foot the bill, right? They need to actually pay these guys. They need to give them the care that they need. Okay, it's not just about money. They need food. They need health care. Our veterans are neglected, and they are oftentimes left behind in very precarious circumstances. And that's not to say that our government doesn't do this to regular people as well. Okay, they do. But it's just Americans. First of all, Americans dislike it a lot more when it happens to veterans. And, you know, also, not for no reason, okay? Because veterans, they are used by our government. Their bodies are tools for America to do its bullshit overseas, okay? And so they're tools, and they use them, and then they toss them aside. They toss them like in the trash can. Okay, so it's a terrible thing. Anyway,
we have to take care of our own people because our government isn't going to do it. The war machine isn't going to do it. The complex isn't going to do it.
Our government isn't going to do it. Yeah, no shit, our government isn't going to do it, but they could. Okay, we can't take care of them, man. I don't know what the fuck you're going on about, but like you can't just expect normal like community members to like pick up the tab where our you know, our federal government, like our government is taking our money. Okay, they're taking our taxes and they're spending it on bullshit. And you're saying that the solution to that is we just need to forget about them. We need to do our own thing in our smaller communities, okay, and take care of veterans ourselves. And that's a really nice idea, okay? But our communities can't do that. They don't have the resources. They already have enough problems to deal with, okay? And it's not that veterans aren't important, okay? Many communities do take care of their veterans and prioritize it, but it's just not enough. It's just not enough, man. The VA exists to protect veterans, to provide them with the things that they need to survive because they served our fucking country. And they're not doing that. The VA fails. Okay? It fails to take care of our veterans. And you're saying, no, that's just what the federal government does. That's just what they do. They just suck. And there doesn't exist a world where they don't suck. Okay? And I'm saying that that's just not true. Our government is capable of taking care of them. But they're not. Because we're not demanding it enough. Okay, too many Americans just say, well, more billions to Israel, okay? More tax cuts for the rich. Yes, this will make my life better. More deporting illegals. And it's not working, man. It's not making life better.
They will abandon these people again, time and time again. We let them out to just die in the streets. It's fucked up. It's like that's what we get. We get a society where our own are killing themselves in their cars outside of the VA office, but the immigrants can just come over here and just take whatever they want. No, fuck the immigrants. Fuck anybody who supports that. You need to realize that your days in office are numbered. Get ready for a fucking career change, and in some cases, we're gonna deport your ass too. Kick your ass out of here. Go the fuck to Israel. Get the fuck out of here. We don't want you here. We only want America first. We only want people here who give a shit about this nation. But we gotta realize that these people who are trying to do these things, they don't care about us. They're not doing it for the same reasons that we would do it for. They're doing it for their own self-interest. They don't care if we survive. They don't care if we're America first. They don't even care if their own fucking veterans kill themselves in their own cars. They don't give a shit. We talk about how we have to see more leadership. We have to be more courageous. That starts with us. So we have to start taking care of our own, and that includes the veterans. I'm telling you that war is coming. It's inevitable at this point, and that is going to be a reality we live through. I don't know how bad it's going to get. Hopefully, I pray it doesn't get any worse than it needs to, but it's happening. We have to be ready to help our own in these situations because we already know the government is going to do that. They're going to take these young men and women, and they're going to use them, and they're going to spit them out, and they're going to leave them to die. Because that's what they've done time and time again for generations to the men and women who have sacrificed everything for our nation. If that's what they think of the people who actually serve this country, what do you think they think of you? You think you're any better to them in their eyes? No. So we have to be careful, we have to be vigilant, we have to be realistic, and we have to strategize. Not just in a political sense, but also in a sense of brotherhood, a sense of patriotism. If the government isn't going to take care of
unless you're brown, unless you're DEI, then the government loves you, and they're giving you everything that they should be giving to white people. Yeah, man. Yeah, genius.
We need to do it. But that's it. That's all I'm going to say on this. I know this is a very long video. There's so much I didn't even get to cover because there's so much shit going on, man. So much shit going on. I've been doing research for days on all this stuff. And it's like, it's fucking crazy, dude, the amount of shit that's going on right now. And it basically just tells me that there's no avoiding this. It's happening. It's already happening. We just don't see the worst of it because the worst isn't here yet. The worst is yet to come. And it's coming. And when it's here, people are going to be freaking out. They're going to be shitting themselves. And it's going to be horrible. And we have to prepare. We have to be ready. Next year, there's going to be a financial crisis. Just in time for us to start invading other countries, am I right? Just in time for the war machine to start revving the engine. For the Federal Reserve to start printing more money. It's not looking good.
Dude, and we're already in a recession. What do you mean? What do you mean? Like, the alarm bells aren't ringing anymore. It's here. Okay? People that said a few years ago we're about to be in a recession, they were getting ahead of it. Okay? If you're saying that now, what the fuck are you talking about? What do you mean? If we're going to be in a recession next year, then what the fuck are we in right now? Like, I'm not even saying it's not going to get worse, okay? It is. It is going to get worse. It's just like what the fuck are you saying? Like, we're not in the recession right now? What? Why? Why do you think this? Stupid.
I'm not here to antagonize anybody or piss anybody off. I'm just here to literally tell you it's like everything I've told you in this video is shit that is happening. Like, fuck my opinion. That's what's going on. So we need to be ready. That's all I'm saying. That is all I'm saying. But what do you guys think? Do you agree? Do you disagree? Is there anything I missed? Because there's a lot that I've missed. And I did my best to keep it as coherent as I could, but this is a lot. This could have been like a 4-hour video. I'm not even kidding. Like, I could have easily made this like 4 or 5 hours or some shit because there's so much to all this. But if I did miss something and if it's something you know, let me know. Let us know. If you disagree and think I'm wrong, do you think we shouldn't invade Venezuela? Do you think we shouldn't have regime change? Why not? Do you think we shouldn't kick out immigrants? I mean, why would the fuck would you think that? But whatever. I know someone's going to make that argument. But let me know below if you do disagree, if you have anything to add. And if you enjoyed the video, please like, comment, and subscribe. And follow me on Rumble. I'm trying to...
Yeah, I'm not going to do any of that. You're stupid. You are a stupid person. Alright, anyway.